All right, we're live. Sorry about being late. However, it was all Lilith's fault.
No, 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 no. You will not pin this on me. This was all your fault.
Yes, it
I
was.
was ready. I got the articles and everything. I've done the research and
You've done all the research?
yeah, as much
Hello.
research as it is possible for a chaotic war that's
Yeah.
currently ongoing.
Oh shit, Putin annexed my house. That's why. That's why it happened. Sorry, guys.
Well, Canada is relatively close to Russia, so who knows what will
Relatively
happen.
close. What's up, everyone? How's it going? How are y'all?
Hello, everybody. How's your weekend?
I'm like mostly better from being sick, which is nice.
Same here. Still got a bit of the COVID carryover, but
The
hey.
COVID carryover? All right. The COVID carryover. Okay. So, oh shit, Neon Reagan's here for the CIA talking points. You're gonna get all glowed up today, buddy. We're going to forcibly vaccinate you with all of the NATO ideology. Do you understand?
That's right.
Oh man, I'm still like on the tail end of being sick, and it's like I still got like a slightly stuffy nose, and it's like ah.
Yeah,
Doing
there's some shit in my just
what stuffed in your
like
head?
phlegm and shit.
Yeah, man, I gotta
Still
say though.
coughing from time to time. Hopefully, I won't cough on stream much. If I do, I'll just mute myself.
I coughed all over that Rings of Power episode 2 days ago.
Yeah, you did. You sounded like you were dying. Like holy shit! Don't die, Dev.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. And you know what? I'm well enough that I might actually try to stream tonight, like on the gaming stream after this, after we're done here. Maybe I'll. I know people have asked me to like play Inscription, that card game, like the kind of spooky card game that came out last year. Everyone was
Mm-hmm.
talking about that, so maybe I'll play that. I'll see. I'll see. I'm gonna start the Halloween games on the gaming channel, guys. So make sure that you tune the fuck in, or else,
Yes, and
or
I will be
else.
doing my weekend streams on Sunday.
Yeah, because you're trying to do like you play Warframe or whatever, right? Wait, is it
Play
Warframe?
Warf. I've been playing Warframe, Guild Wars 2. I've been branching out to play the meme game Fortnite because of that damn cat skin. Because she was literally me.
Oh, so you're grinding the skin out? Okay.
Maybe a little bit. I'm still I still
Hey,
gotta
Carlos.
learn the game a bit more. But hey,
Oh yeah, speaking of TF2, I might actually put a community TF2 server up. There's demand for it, so maybe I should do it. Maybe I should do a TF2 server. You guys
maybe
want a TF2 server? Hmm.
is TF2 even still alive today though?
Oh yeah,
Probably
lots of.
is.
Listen, TF2's gone through like a revitalization as Overwatch has collapsed, and Overwatch 2 looks to be like a garbage pile.
Oh, that's
Everyone,
cool.
everyone's going back to TF2.
Are they updating TF2?
No, that's still not the case.
Valve, big Valve, obviously, of course.
But everyone's like TF2, TF2, TF2. So maybe I should.
I'm glad the community is keeping it alive though.
Yeah. I mean, will the server actually be up and running? Unlike the Minecraft server, the Minecraft server is currently up right now. No pants. You fucking maroon. Get out of here. $2
You
from Toot.
nincompoop.
From Toot. John K is a more based Ukrainian than Zelensky. Who's John K?
Eesh, I don't know about that. John K is
I
kind
don't,
of oof.
who who is that guy though?
He's like the animator for Rem and Stimpy, and he's kind of like a sex pest.
Oh, well, hold on. Let's be more specific. What does sex pest mean in this case? Does it mean that he sent his dick pic to somebody? Does it mean that he hit on a girl and she thought it was creepy? Does it mean that he's a rapist? Like, there's a big spectrum here.
I forgot what it was he did, but it wasn't good.
Hold on. Semper Tantrum's like, it'll be as playable as your Minecraft server. Hey, listen. I have made the
I didn't
Minecraft
know he was
server.
Ukrainian, but whatever.
I've made the Minecraft server way more playable than it was, dude. I know what's going on. It honestly, the Minecraft server was like absolute garbage like 2 years ago. It's pretty good now. It's pretty good now. All things considered. I've shaped it up. And I like it. At least how it is. At least I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked at it today, but as far as I know, it's still I tinkered with it last night. We mucked around a bit, me and the mods. The thing is, though, actually regarding the Minecraft server, real quick, we're probably going to be starting a new map anyway. The old maps will be put into like museum mode. You know, they put into museum mode. God damn it! What do you want me to check, Trikovic? Jesus, dude, you didn't even send me a DM. You're like, check DMs, and I'm looking. It's like, you didn't send me any new DMs. You didn't? Okay. I'll look at it later, okay, dude? Has Lilith ever blown her nose? She's had a stuffed nose since the dawn of time.
It's just the way I talk, unfortunately. And probably the coof didn't make it much better. But hey.
Yeah. Is that your nose shape?
Maybe.
Mm. Oh, man, nothing like chilled water. No more soft drinks for Fat Devo. Lots of wait, no, but she blowed SFO. Jesus Christ, guys. Okay. There are people who think that you're my girlfriend.
Oof, no, I am not. Naomi is Dev's girlfriend.
Yes. Yes. Also, Jesus, that was a really quick disavowal.
And he did not get the COVID from me.
That was a really quick disavowal, Lilith. Oh my god. I understand now.
Wait, I just wanted this. I thought you wanted to, like...
I'm joking.
Dispel the rumor. Because people will always be talking.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Also, it doesn't help the fact that Naomi says she's trans all the fucking time whenever she's on mic. And it's like, come on, please. You know what they're going to say. Don't. Like,
they're going to demand proof of what she says.
Naomi and I aren't married, but we might as well be.
Marriage is just like a piece of paper these days.
Yeah, we own like a lot of stuff together. You know, so we've gone
halvesies
though, and
so you'll pay less taxes to Trudeau.
To Trudeau, yeah, I guess maybe. Naomi is Dev's boyfriend. Get it right.
She's the one that wears the pants in the relationship here.
Okay, so guys, today we're going to be talking about... Actually, here, wait. Let me... Dev's Wojak crying behind the mask. What? What am I crying about? God, you guys are retards. But I love you. Okay, hold on. But yeah, the new Minecraft map will probably happen maybe after October's over. And it will probably put the TF2 server at the same time. So, there you go. There's your community update. It will be enjoying some of that shit beginning in November. Tanushi, €5. The Muscovite Empire in its current iteration is bringing back the right of conquest back to international relations, yet thus wrecking the point of the UN. I don't know about that, man. I think this is all going to backfire on him. But
yeah, the thing is not going very well for them.
It's not going very well at all. Okay, so what do I got here? We are talking about. We haven't talked about the Ukraine situation for a few months, actually. You know what I mean?
Yep. Things have been developing slowly for quite some time, and then until...
Oh yeah, that's right.
September?
Freeze in my audience. He's from Belarus, and I'm like, I just hope he gets out of there. Overall volume's low. Okay, yeah. I mean, hold on. Not much I can do about that. Maybe just turn up your, turn it up. Okay, hold on. I'll turn Lilith up a little bit. And dude, my mic's already maxed. Can I like adjust it over here, maybe?
So we should probably go over the timelines of events, shouldn't we?
Give me a second. I'm trying to fix the mic here. What if I did
Okay.
this? Okay, how does this sound? Oh, that's way too loud now, isn't it? Maybe if I like turn it down a little. Okay, how's this sound now, guys? I turned me up a little bit. All right, Adam. You've had your fun spamming, but it's time for you to go away. Boom. Okay. Oh yeah. Also, we are on like the no bullshit arc in my community. There are so many people who are like, Dev, you're a free speech guy, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a free speech guy generally. Well, my speech is literally shitting down your throat and trolling your entire community and chasing viewers away. And it's like, well,
yeah, get fucked.
maybe I just need to. At this point, I'm just going to ban people like that. I don't care anymore. Fuck you guys. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, actually, get him out of here. That's Trump would say. Get him out of here.
Don't give him his coat.
Don't give him his coat.
Okay, hold on here.
Take it.
This is actually a interesting. I don't know the answer to this question. Could Lilith still be drafted by Taiwan if China invades, even though you've transitioned? I don't know. How does that work?
First of all, I don't live in Taiwan anymore, so good luck drafting me. But,
if you were there though, if you were there.
If I were there, I've already been disqualified from service at the time because of I was simply just a bit underweight.
Oh.
And also my vision wasn't good enough for to be a soldier. But hey, if I have to fight, I will fight.
So you're not going to be one of those based NATO trans soldiers that you see running around?
You know, if China invades Taiwan, I might go and recruit. I'm not as underweight as I used to be, and lately I've been
getting buff.
Like not getting buff, but like exercising every day.
Yeah. Speaking of the base trans soldiers, here we go. We got the trans NATO soldier, they them, no tampons required. Hefty external genitalia, kills enemies from beyond visual range. And then, of course, the Russian soldier were, who are stuffed full of tampons 24/7.
Yeah, what is with that tampon thing? Was like there was like a recruiters telling like recruits that they can't afford like first aid, so they have to buy tampon.
You are still sick. But yeah. Basically,
I guess I am.
Basically,
still, it's got some residual coof. But hey.
So here's the thing: tampons were originally invented as a first aid thing, like in the 1800s. They
were like you have to buy the cheapest tampons and stuff it into your bullet holes. That was their advice.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure that first aid supplies are less expensive than tampons, considering the pink tax.
That's to think about.
The based trans NATO soldier needs no tampons. Okay.
Yep, because we would be at safety of a drone control. Anyways,
this is weird. OBS is being weird right now. Here, let's read those couple super chats that came in, and then we'll go.
Oh.
Yeah, Joseph Havens, $5. While there is free speech, you are the arbiter and owner of the stream. You set the rules, same as your house. Also, did I hear the TF2 server? Yes, it will be coming. It will be coming. Thank you, though.
There's a fine line between free speech and just being a dick and just trolling for the sake of trolling.
Well, no, like free speech still involves
and fucking shit up.
Well, here's the thing: like, if we're talking about the state, free speech still involves trolling for the sake of trolling. No one should be arrested for that. But I'm still gonna ban you. Like
your servers is not the state, so
exactly.
Pavel, just like how like not everybody could go into your house, even though people could enter Canada. But
Pavel Sukharov for $10. What is your overall opinion on Putin's transphobic comments towards the West during the annexation speech? Oh, that's right. There was a speech. We got everything else, but not the actual speech.
Oh, right. Actually, I have the
You
the
have the speech?
yes, yes, the transcript here.
Okay, we'll make
Extracts from Putin's
extracts.
speech.
Don't you love it when the less racism comes out? Oh, it comes out every fucking day, dude. Every fucking day. Let's see here. Let's
We could
pull up.
go over it, but
Yeah, I'll put it
not
in the
yet because we should probably
NX.
go over the timeline first.
Right. I will. Let me just slap this in here real quick. Come on, cooperate. Okay. Right. Okay, I'll put this right here. Okay. There we go. I think we're set. It's not transphobic in Russia. Here's the thing. Like, on the one hand, they have like different culture, different ideas of things, and fair enough. On the other hand, I have my culture and I have my values, and I don't necessarily need to be like some kind of progressive. Every culture is beautiful. It's okay. No, man. Like, I can just say you guys are shitty. Your culture sucks compared to mine because yours is Russian and mine is liberal. Fuck you. We are on the liberal supremacist arc, guys. That's what this is.
NATO dev.
NATO dev. I mean, at the same time, like, obviously the West has done some bad things. We're not immune from criticism, but let's not pretend there's any kind of moral equivalence here.
Yep.
Because there's not.
Russia invaded Ukraine.
Yes, I'll pull it up right now.
Russia is 100% the aggressors.
Russia invaded Ukraine more than 200 days ago. Here is one key development from every month of the war. So, do you recall how, like, at the very early of this, the beginnings of the war, you had basically populists on the left and the right both talk about how this, this is like
they're not gonna invade. You're throwing water into the air.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. But then as soon as they did invade, they were all saying that this was like the end of the liberal world order and liberalism's crumbling and America is weak. On the extreme left, you had people supporting Putin because some of them because they're just communists. Some of them because Putin's like anti-liberal and they view this as like a revolt against like the liberal financially backed establishment, like world establishment. On the right, they like, on the right, a lot of it was just like culture war shit, which was honestly kind of cringe in my opinion. It's like, yeah,
you're gonna simp for an enemy nation because they have the air of appearing trad, even though they have like the highest abortion rates and highest AIDS rates.
yeah, exactly, right.
The most like poverty and like, okay, great job. If that's the future you want, then go ahead, move to Russia then.
Yeah, well, it's not just
move to Russia and fight in war. Go ahead.
Well, hold on. It's not just that though. It's not just that. It's also that like a lot of them are just like there's a universalizing aspect to Western culture that I think can be rightfully criticized. And then a lot of the people on the right frame this conflict as like a nativist Russia resisting a universalizing liberalism. The issue, however, is that what constitutes nativist Russia ends up being a lot fucking worse, which is no good, obviously. And yeah, things are basically not going Russia's way at all. Let's see.
Highest alcoholism rates.
Yeah, well, they've had that for the past 2,000 fucking years.
They tried to stop it, the Soviets, which was like about the one of the few smart things they tried to do. It was like they tried to stop the production of all those vodkas. But hey.
Yeah. So let's actually
normally prohibition is bad, but like when maybe something should be done about that, the rates.
Yeah, honestly, when you have a culture that permissive, prohibition's not going to fucking work. They got to do something else. And I don't think, and it's going to be like Russia is a very different country from Western countries, they can't just have like our solutions transplanted onto them. But that doesn't mean that we have to tolerate a lot of their nonsense, though. So, but yeah, like a lot of right wingers are just like, I know Paul Joseph Watson did like the liberal world order is crumbling. That was his thing for a while, and it's like, dude, you're literally simping for worse people because those worse people don't let pink-haired SJWs in the school system. Okay, we can talk about the pink-haired SJW school system problem. That's a real problem. Fair enough. Perhaps Russia is worse. Okay? Maybe you're too terminally fucking online to understand that Russia's actually worse. You know what I mean? Like, Christ. Okay, so we've got the timeline real quick. Russian forces began their invasion of Ukraine more than 6 months ago. Since then, tens of thousands of people have been killed, millions of Ukrainians have fled, and the country has sustained tens of billions of dollars worth of damage. So here's one key moment per month that kind of tells the story of the war so far.
Yep.
In
In
February.
February.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Russian forces attacked the Ukrainian capital Kiev from the north in an attempt to overthrow President Volodymyr Zelensky's government. With Ukrainian troops outgunned and outnumbered, many military experts expected the attack to succeed swiftly. But after weeks of fighting, Russia retreated, stymied by ferocious Ukrainian resistance. Evidence of atrocity. Shoot.
You are still
COVID.
sick.
I am still a little sick.
Maybe I should
Evidence
do the reading.
of atrocities emerged in the wake of the retreat. In March, Russian forces hacking from the south took the province of Kherson. The advance was part of an attempt to secure Ukraine's Black Sea coast.
Hold on. Before you go to the next month, let's talk about February for a minute, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, everyone was saying like, "Oh my God, Russia's finally unleashing the beast, and Ukraine has no chance." Everyone thought that this was gonna like they're gonna be done in 3 weeks. Like Ukraine was just fucked, and that was the end of it.
Yep, there was like soldiers with ceremonial outfits locked in, thinking they were going to be welcomed and as liberators, and they're going to have their victory parade within a week.
Hold on, there's a dude in the chat saying he's from Ukraine. Who knows? Because the internet's full of liars. But maybe. How's it going? There, I'm going to type to him. How's it going there? Okay, so. Oh yeah, one dude was like, fucking Infamy or Death said, "No, I want the pink hairs gone, and I don't care what I have to give to get it." No. Listen. The pink hairs are a problem, but they are like a third level problem. Okay, I'm reasonably sure that an invading army, expressly anti-liberal in nature, is more important than some dumb SJWs. All right, this is a more serious situation.
Terminally online people.
Terminally online people, yes. Yeah, everyone thought that Ukraine was fucking done. You know, everyone thought they were done. Yeah.
People thought Zelensky was gonna flee, like to his Western puppet masters, as they would put it, and basically they would topple the government and replace it with a pro-Russian public president and government, and things would all be hunky-dory. They would be welcomed as liberators and celebrated, and evidently that didn't happen.
No, it didn't. There was a lot of resistance, and here's the thing: like to the Ukrainians' benefit, they resisted very, very hardly. Like they have been fighting for their fucking lives, but you can't say it's all just them. You know, the West has been giving them a bunch of stuff, lots of weapons, lots of armor, lots of technology. You know, lots of bullets. You know,
lots of logistics and information too. Even like Elon Musk was like providing the Ukrainians with the Starlink technology to locate like Russian ground forces and targets.
Yep. Elon Musk coming in, baby.
Yep.
But yeah, basically they rolled in. We all thought that Ukraine was done for. A lot of the populists on the internet were talking about how this is the end of American hegemony, but 5 months later, it looks like a very different situation. honestly, it kind of feels like with the failure of Russia basically in Ukraine at this point.
Absolutely.
Like it's almost like liberalism has been bolstered as a lot of our enemies have revealed themselves to basically just be paper tigers. That's what Taftaj said during the outtake video of our Lord of the Rings watch. Like, guys, I know only some of you watch the Lord of the Rings videos. Well, there was an outtake section of like an hour of extra footage where Taftaj and I know you jumped in a little bit, Lilith, but it was mostly Taftaj and I talking politics. So I uploaded that in a side channel, and she made the point, and I think the correct point, that Ukraine has gone so poorly for Russia that like it's basically handing Biden like a victory on a silver platter, like a moral victory. You know, there was all this wondering about, oh geez, does our system really still work? Can like the the liberal democratic capitalist Western order still really stand up in the 21st century? Well, it turns out the answer to that is yes, and the Russians just fucking proved it. You know.
Like our Western allies are more united and stronger than ever,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been. It could be better, like especially like Germany being really hesitant still, but hey.
Yeah. There's a Russian guy in the chat. I'm from Russia, and here the motif is that the U.S. is prolonging the war and the suffering by sending advanced weapons, and that Russia is basically keeps redestroying the rebuilt army over and over. I mean, who knows if that's true? But
How about Russia leave?
well, hold on. Like, I'm not gonna blame the chatter for, like, it's he just happens to be living in Russia. It's not his fault. Like, no hard
I'm not
feeling.
saying it's his fault.
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah,
his country, his government should like leave and
yeah. Like no
end
hard
the
feelings.
suffering right now. Just go home.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like no hard feelings against you personally, man. Like, don't. Here, let's continue though. So March. I'll read March this time here. Russian forces attacking from the south took the province of, is it Kherson? Kherson? The advance was part of an attempt to secure Ukraine's Black Sea coast and form a land bridge between the region of Crimea, which Russia illegally annexed in 2014, and the breakaway republics that were set up with Moscow's backing that year in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk and Luhansk regions. So one thing I do know is that Crimea has basically been water starved this whole time. Because a lot of Crimea's water came from a canal that Ukraine built back before 2014. And as soon as Russia annexed Crimea, they closed the canal because it's like, well, fuck you. Like, you're not getting any of our
Yeah.
stuff.
Why should they? Why should you have the water?
Yeah. So basically, like, I know on some level the Russians were forced into taking certain areas to make sure Crimea has water again. But I mean, there's also the larger fact that Russia shouldn't have been there in the first place, right?
Yep.
Yeah. A German officer in the chat. He's tired of the myth that Germany isn't sending anything. Look at all the list of material and money we provided. The government is just not sending tanks. Yeah. So the Germans aren't going to send tanks.
They're not
but
sending anything. I'm just saying they're not doing enough.
You think so? The Germans?
Yeah.
Listen, Lilith, I don't know if you want to uncuck the Germans. The last two times that happened, it's been kind of a crazy situation, okay?
Uncuck the Germans, Dev. We need a super NATO Germany.
Hold on. So Lilith now endorses the Fourth Reich. All right, understood.
No, under NATO.
Hey, so $5 from Dr. Jenkin. Hi, Dev and Lilith. Do people in the SO community who spell out the N-word in Discord or defend Russia ever make you concerned about your audience's maturity or IQ? I mean, we're all pretty low IQ here, to be honest. That's okay. The issue
but
is
your audience sometimes, though.
Oh yeah,
at least
honestly,
some sections of it.
There's like a vocal minority of my audience that is actively retarded, and I like if we're just gonna like troll a little bit and have a little bit of fun, fine. If they're gonna keep it up like all the time, I'm just gonna get rid of you at this point because I'm fucking done. I'm so tired of that shit. I'm too old to deal with that nonsense. But honestly, most of my audience is pretty supportive of what I do. You know, I've talked to a few of them. I've talked to a bunch of them. Like there's a very loud minority of people who don't like the fact that I'm not drifting rightward. I'm staying exactly where I've always been. But what are you gonna do?
Yep, they can stay mad. But hey.
Sorry, I just got a message from Taftach. I just told her that we're live. So yes, April. You want to read April?
Yep. In early April, a Russian missile strike on a train station in Kamarovsk, a city in Donetsk, killed more than 50 civilians. The attack came at the start of a Russian offensive to seize all of Donetsk and Luhansk, together known as Donbass, the Donbass region.
That's right. So this was like their big second wave push, from what I recall, because I know that like a lot of the there was like I don't have the videos on hand. I do have them in a backlog somewhere. I don't have the videos on hand right now, but there was like I don't know if you guys in the chat remember. Okay, I don't know if you guys in the chat remember, but there was like a bunch of people who were just like you had like Russian soldiers. Sorry, so hold on. You had like Russian tanks roll in, and they were just like driving around in Ukrainian cities, and they're like, "What the fuck? Where's all my support? Like where's the ground forces? Where's the snipers? Like, I'm just driving in a tank, you know, all on my own." And they're like, "What the fuck, dude?" Like, the actual
tanks are supposed to be backed up by like you don't just go to a war with a tank and expect to win. A tank needs to be backed up by ground and air forces.
Yeah.
In order to assert that power. Otherwise, it's just the one big slow-moving target.
Exactly, yeah. Like, unless you have like a rocket launcher, you can't really hurt a tank. But at the same time, a tank can't hold a city the way that ground forces can. You need more than just a guy in a tank rolling through a street, you know? Like, the rest of the city can basically continue to operate around him and just not give a shit about the tank. The tank has only limited usefulness. Yeah, the tanks like drove around. They had no like supply lines. They ran out of gas. They're like, well, fuck. They had like no ground support. There was like no food coming in. Like they fucking there was like Russian trucks were like driving in and like their tires were blowing out of fucking nowhere. Like the initial Russian push was just so like laughably incompetent that it was kind of just weird to see it, how bad they were at this. But then by
there were,
April,
like lines of vehicles stuck in mud.
Yeah. But then like by April, they kind of had their second wave come in, which was a pretty important thing. Let's see. May, the last Ukrainian fighters surrendered to Russian forces, and was it Mariupol? A port city and industrial hub on the Sea of Azov. Russian forces shattered the city during weeks of bombardment that killed thousands of civilians. The fighting ended with a siege of the Azovstal iron and steelworks plant, which became a symbol of Ukrainian resistance. So this was when everyone was saying, like, okay, Russia's finally going to win it now. The Russians are finally slowly moving through more methodically and taking over. They have their real armor game up now. They have their air game up. Like they're actually like coming out in force. Okay. Arch, you're in the chat. Are you okay? You missed the thing. I'm gonna mod Arch. Arch says, "Where are the snipers? Dead. The tanks are not alone. They had mechanized infantry along with them, but they did not have the doctrine to descend and fight effectively." Arch, you missed the absolutely terrible episode 2 days ago. Are you awake now? I know you were really sick. Oh God, Lilith, what do you think Art's gonna say when he finally sees the creation of Mount Doom?
Oh, he's probably gonna flip.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, bring on Arch. Maybe we could. Arch, do you want to come on? We could figure it out. But here, you want to read June?
In June, Ukrainian forces raised a flag over Snake Island, a sliver of land in the Black Sea off the Ukrainian city of Odessa. This was when they said a Russian warship, "Go fuck yourself."
Oh yeah, that's right.
A while back.
I saw that video. They were like talking. It's like, what should we say to them? It's like, well, we're all dead anyway, so go fuck yourself.
Yep.
They all died, didn't they? Like they killed them all.
No, they didn't kill them all.
Oh,
they got I think they got captured,
okay.
and yeah. Russian forces had captured the island at the start of the conflict, exposing Ukraine's coast to missile attacks and a potential ground invasion. By driving Russian troops from the island 2 months after the sinking of the flagship of the Russia's Black Sea Fleet, the Moskva, Ukraine erased the threat to Odessa further. Sorry, the Ukraine erased the threat to Odessa
Ease the
further
threat. Yeah.
eased
Yes.
the threat
Mhm.
to Odessa further dented Moscow's aura of naval power. So,
They
this time
recaptured
I
the island.
skipped over a few things. I noticed. They skipped over in April. There's like when Russia pulled back from their invasion near the Kiev region. It was discovered that in the city of Bucha that they massacred a bunch of civilians and raped a bunch of women there, like some as young as like 14, and
Jesus.
it was really fucked.
Yeah.
And as well as
The
they
Russian military has
briefly
a history
talked
of doing
about
that, though. To be
the
honest,
Moskva, which is a huge deal. Whereas like
that was like
that
their
was like
flagship, right?
yes,
Yeah.
their flagship, the supposed like modernized to today's standards, and it turns out I'll watch Laser Pig's video, by the way,
hmm Well,
on the sink of Moskva.
I know, like they were actually saying, like, yeah, we had like a fire on the ship, and like they didn't actually sink us, guys. Like it was just a bunch of copium, dude.
And they say it was like lost in a storm, and then pictures came out with like the rescue ship, like it was just clear skies.
It's like it was a storm, totally. Like it's so stupid.
So what turns out was that the missile defense system that they had was just not working, and they didn't even know they were under attack when the Ukrainian missile struck the ship. It's just oof.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big oops. But they got the island back. I know, and like the island was the, I know a whole bunch, like a bunch of things became like almost like legends in
Yep,
the Ukraine story. Like there was the Snake Island resistors. Okay, that seemed to have at least some truth to it. But then there was like the ghost of Kiev, which was like just
yep.
like
The ghost of
ridiculous.
Kevin.
And and then downstream from that we had, our good friend, you know, friend and ally of the show Vosh come out as the Kharkiv Jesus, the Kharkiv kid finder. Remember that
Yes,
meme?
yes, I remember that.
It's like it turns out
There,
that
there was like a
Ian
guy. There was like a guy in Kharkiv that was like finding and rescuing children
children,
in Kharkiv that were trapped under rubbles,
and
and
you look kind of like Vosh. So it's like Vosh went to the Ukraine to start taking kids away. It's like, okay, dude. Oh god.
Kharkiv kid finder himself.
Mm. Okay. On
All right,
July,
and
yeah,
yes,
after weeks of artillery bombardment and street fighting, the last city under Ukrainian control in Luhansk, Lysychansk, fell to Russia. In the weeks that followed, however, Moscow made only minimal progress in its effort to secure the rest of Donbass. So they're kind of slowing down at this point. And then there's not much to say
there
about
was
that.
there was like a long time where it's like the line on the map just barely moved at all. Like
Yeah.
there's like skirmishes and combats where the line moved a little bit on the Ukrainian side, moved a bit on the Russian side, and but overall, like not a lot has happened during that time.
Hold on. There's one dude. There's a guy named Peter Edwards who's just like, that's it, I'm gone. If I want to enjoy myself listening to liars, I'll switch on MSNBC. What are we lying about? What the
Everything we're
fuck?
talking about is just what's happening.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I'm sorry
Go,
that
go watch
you're
Russia
like
Today or
you're,
whatever.
you're a pro
Go,
Putin
just
simp and he's losing. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Don't just ignore him.
All right. So in August, Ukraine said they had launched a counteroffensive in the southern region of Kherson. The build-up to the attack had taken weeks, during which Ukraine deployed newly arrived missile systems supplied by the United States and other Western countries to destroy Russian
Based.
ammunition dumps and other military infrastructure. Ukraine also attacked a Russian airbase in Crimea. So this is when the pushback begins. Biden has sent over literally your entire GDP, which made a lot
All
of
of
people
it.
in the United States angry, but sent over everything.
Yep. We sent over literally all of our equipments.
Yeah.
In reality, we've only sent like it's been estimated like point something percent
Yeah. So it's like, stop
of,
sending
of
them.
shit that's just like rotting in some storage somewhere anyways.
Yeah, I actually have no problem with America funding Ukraine. Seems reasonable to me. I don't know why everyone's angry about it, frankly. There were far bigger expenditures of money that you could be angry about. Like the student loan forgiveness, for example, might not have been a good idea, depending. I know Econoboy went back and forth on that last week, but that, nonetheless, that was way more fucking money than anything sent to Ukraine, I'm pretty sure. And then in September, the rapid offensive began, and Ukraine recaptured much of the northeastern Kharkiv region, including the city of Izumium. I can't fucking pronounce foreign names. I don't know.
I think it's like Izium.
Yeah. It's been a key Russian logistics hub. The advance, which continues, enabled Kiev. I kind of find it cringe how they're like rewriting. We always spelled it Kiev now instead of Kiev. It was always Kiev, but it's like whatever. All right. Sees momentum in the war. Okay. That is the timeline, the very basic timeline. Okay. And I will say that on that, you have who controls what in Ukraine. Here's our map. Okay. And all the red areas are the places that Russians have pushed up to. However, the blue areas are places that Russians had originally pushed up to but have now been pushed back. So the Ukrainians have retaken a bunch of territory up here by Kharkiv. We can actually credit that entirely to Vosh and his kid finding efforts, the Kharkiv kid finder. And they've also been taking back some border areas in the south as well.
And they've recently taken Lyman,
Mhm.
which was like a key, like a town.
Yeah. And this blue area here, like a blue stripe right in the center, there's no formal military presence there, but that's where like Ukrainian citizens are fighting. You have like partisans who have gotten a hold of illegal guns and they're fighting there. So there we go. Let's grab Arch. Are you good to grab him? Let's grab him.
Kind of a short notice, but if he wants to come on, sure.
Yep, he said he's fine to come on. He just said I'm good to go, so let's add him to the call. Wait, I might need to leave the call first. Actually, no, I don't think I need to. I think I can just add him. All right, Arch. Where are you? Oh, the call did end.
Okay.
We're here, though. I'm sure Arch will wake up soon enough. Arch, are you there?
Possibly.
Jesus, you are loud. You weren't kidding. Let me turn you down on my end. So, Arch, I know you were sick. How are you feeling?
I'm less dead now, but still not 100%.
Yeah. Did you watch Lord of the Rings on your own, by the way?
I did watch it, yes.
What's your TLDR of that, just real quick?
Not that important.
It was
No, let's hear it.
Let's hear it. Television episode. That was for them show.
Yeah, but we got to see how Mount Doom was created. Isn't that epic?
My only real takeaway was I wish I had been right, because it makes way less sense the way it is now, where the entire timeline doesn't make sense, because the journey from Numenor to wherever this is should take weeks.
Yeah.
Absolute weeks. And yet they show up in time. Not only that, but they're riding full out because they apparently know that the city is under attack, or this village.
The village. And they only go to the village.
Yes, they only go to the village, which is was a good idea. They decided to abandon the tower, the far more easily defendable tower, and somehow sneak their way down the only passage we've seen in the dark, not being spotted by the orcs on the way, despite the orcs seeing much better in the dark than humans, of course.
Yeah. Yes,
And
Arch
then
has a
Mount
cunning
Doom was
clue.
created by an old person who inserted a MacGuffin into a hole, and then Lara Croft did it.
Yeah, and then that's how they made Mount Doom. Wow.
Now, I will point out, Dev, if you dig far enough down into the earth, yes, you will find lava.
Well, no, I know that. Wait, did you watch our video of it?
I did.
Okay. No, I know that if you dig down enough, you find lava. I know that, but I don't think you find a giant cave like that, though. Like a giant open cave. I think you just find lava.
It depends on the region, but the earth crust can be remarkably porous in areas.
Hmm. But yeah, that whole sequence seemed fucking insane to me.
It was stupid, and it existed only because it was, hey, look, it's Mount Doom. Whee!
Yep, we did it. We got to show how everything's made. But okay,
And
hopefully,
I don't
hopefully,
know if it was you who made the point or who made the point, but there was an excellent point that was made in that your video there,
Mhm.
where you don't need to see everything, because if it was just Mount Doom, that is mystique, that is something interesting. Now Mount Doom was created by some old fuck who turned a key. Like,
Yes, yeah. It wasn't just
it
like,
makes
oh, it's
everything
water.
infinitely
Yeah.
less interesting.
I think both Taftage and I said that is that sometimes it's better not to tell the story than to show everything's origin. Yeah.
Yes.
But okay, hopefully you'll be back next week, Arch. I'm mostly cured up. Lilith's mostly cured up. You sound like you're on the mend.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. Should have got vaccinated.
Seeing as I got this from my triple vaxxed mother, I don't think it'll work.
Okay, so regarding Russia and Ukraine, though, you wanted to come on and educate us on tank formations or something?
I also saw you were mentioning that they captured Snake Island because Russia was using it to fire missiles at them.
That was in the article, I think. Yeah.
Dev, why would
Hmm.
they fire missiles from Snake Island?
I don't know.
It's really far away, Dev. Why would
Is
they
it?
do this?
Where is Snake Island on the map?
Wouldn't it be much easier to use the ships that they have? You know, the ones with cruise missile capabilities?
I mean, the one that sunk is gone.
Or the submarines with also that has cruise missile capabilities?
I'm sure those are leaky. But
Snake
anyway, though,
Island was captured to be a base for ASM to deal with trade, not to be an attack vector against the Ukrainian coast. Though there was a temporary threat they might launch a naval invasion, but with the sinking of the Moskva, that was no longer possible.
mm-hmm. You mean the unfortunate fire that happened after a storm?
No, it's a cigarette.
A cigarette? Oh shit!
Have you two seen the actual maintenance documents for the Moskva?
I haven't seen them, but I've heard a few things about them. What's the story?
Well, basically, the Moskva Slava class cruiser,
Mm-hmm.
relatively modern 1970s late design, loaded down with point defenses, both long range and medium. Like, it's designed to be a fleet flagship. It's got S-300s for long range intercept. It's got point defense with the AK-430s or 630s. They've got ORSA's medium range anti-air missiles. It should be able to shoot down a couple dozen ASMs with little to no problems. But according to the maintenance documents that have leaked, which look very official and believable, basically none of that was functioning. Out of its 6 point range defenses, the AK-630s, the giant miniguns, 1 was functional. Out of the 2 ORSA launchers, the medium range surface air missiles, none of them were functional, and it carried none of his long range S-300. So basically, it had virtually no defense, and that's why it could be knocked out by a single ASM.
Jesus, like, how do you get that incompetent to just sail out like that?
It was also
Corruption.
that
Because the Russians.
normally, a Moskva should be able to take a hit from the Neptune. Like, the Neptune's a decent ASM, but it shouldn't be able to sink a cruiser the size of the Moskva. But it also didn't have any of its firefighting gear. It's supposed to have 600 firefighting apparatuses. It had 100.
Jesus.
So, yeah. Russian quality assurance.
Listen, Arch, it's all just 3-dimensional, 5th-dimensional chess underwater chess at the bottom of the Black Sea being played by the Russians right now, okay? It's all
Yep.
going to
With
turn up
their
Putin in the end.
Piece of the True Cross, which we don't know if they recovered or not.
Mm.
Now,
So,
the point on the original invasion, which you mentioned, the tanks did have infantry
Suppose a
support.
piece of the True Cross.
oh, some of
Like,
them
these
did, yeah?
are,
I had
they're-
heard that some hadn't. That some were just like single tanks are just rolling out by themselves, and they're like, and the guys inside were like, "What the fuck are we doing, dude?"
possibly, but these are integrated formations, usually in the form of BTGs or otherwise. So they would be infantry, but what turned out to be the case is most of the infantry aboard had no actual training in actually dismounting and fighting off the enemy. Because normally what you want to do is you need to push up with APCs and IFVs and dismounted infantry far ahead of the tanks, and then tanks provide support. That didn't happen. That's why they were rolling into ambush after ambush after ambush, because the infantry, well, they couldn't be convinced to get out of their carriers. They weren't trained for it.
And they're just like, "Fuck this, dude! I'm staying inside."
Yeah, literally. Like, there were several instances of that happening, of the officers trying to fight like, order them out, and they simply just wouldn't. And that's why they ended up in those ridiculous traffic jams, because there was no local
there was-
technical authority.
There was like cases where it's like soldiers refusing the orders from the officers and like shooting the officers too.
And that's been happening a lot recently as well, because here's the thing. I don't know if you've heard about the recent legal changes in Russia when it comes to the mobilization.
We're probably gonna get to that a little bit later, but what do
Okay,
you?
but basically, the punishment for failing to show up for the mobilization is greater than going to jail for murder. So people figured we'll just kill our recruitment officers and get off cheaper than if we hadn't shown up.
Jesus.
Right, that has happened, and we have some articles lined up for that.
Mhm. That kind of reminds
Yes.
me. There was we're talking ancient Chinese history at this point, but at one point in China's history, the government was like so centralized and so authoritarian, they made a punishment for an officer showing up late to whatever he had to show up to, the same as the punishment for treason. So he just said, "I might as well revolt then," and he did, and he actually ended up taking down the government in a rebellion. But like, there comes a point where a government becomes too authoritarian and it just destabilizes, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
and too quickly as well.
Yeah. I know like a lot of people on the online right now, they talk a lot about elite theory, right? And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I'm not sure if elite theory makes sense. Not in what we're seeing here. Because like clearly it's not the case that the people at the top of Russian society are just dictating how the bottom thinks and what they're doing, because you wouldn't see this much incompetence and this much, direct violation of orders if that were the case. I still think you still need some level of legitimacy with the common person in order to actually rule, or else you just get this level of dysfunction.
I'm not familiar with the elite theory idea, but one of the big things is that Putin was actually really, really ridiculously popular. The problem is the Russian army has proven itself to be thoroughly incompetent, so that even if the Russian people were like, okay, we're going to trust Putin, they're not going to trust their officers. And if they're
Yeah.
not going to trust their officers, they're not going to be an effective fighting force.
Yeah.
It's like the Northern Front commander and the Southern Front commanders fighting each other. And like trying to shirk responsibilities, like, oh, we're fucking up because it's him. No, it's him. And I think Putin's just like, fuck you both. And obviously you gotta blame somebody.
So here's real quickly. Elite theory is a theory of the state that seeks to describe and explain power relationships in contemporary society. The theory posits that a small minority, consisting of members of the economic elite and policy planning networks, hold the most power, and that the power is independent of democratic elections. Now, maybe, but at the same time, in a situation like this, if that were the case, why would there be so much like common on the ground resistance to what Putin and his government are doing? Because then, like, they're not actively fighting the government but in some cases they are, but in a lot of cases they're just like, fuck this, you know. There's so much passivity and just, we don't care, we're not going to go along with it. It seems is starting to develop, which is why I don't necessarily like elite theory as a way to describe how governments work. There's still, like, there obviously are elites. There obviously are people with more power than even maybe than they should have, but you still need the legitimacy of the people that you rule over on some level. Even if it's not like a democracy, you still need to be popular. You know, you have to be a popular authoritarian leader, or else your society will collapse, I think.
There needs to be a degree of faith in there as well.
Yes, yeah. There's like a what's part of it? There's like, I know there's a lot of really hardcore libertarians who are leaning on elite theory right now, but at the same time they also understand that, like, totalitarianism as a mode of government doesn't work. You know, the fascist totalitarians and the socialist totalitarians, when you take in and centralize all this power into one apparatus, the thing just collapses. And I wonder how they square away those two views, because they seem to be at odds with each other, you know? It seems to be the case that a more decentralized society does create a bigger state, but also that it creates, say, a more stable state, and not one that's just going to fall over as soon as the great leader dies, you know?
The stick will only carry people so far.
Yeah. So, the actual annexation happened. That was the official annexation. So you had these 4 regions on the map here, and Russia's decided to go ahead and say, "Oh yeah, just like Crimea, these are now like part of Russia officially. Like they're not like occupied regions anymore. They are now like Russian provinces or whatever." So
And this comes in the wake of the massive rout that happened in September, where they've lost over 1,000 square miles of land and a key military hub.
Mm-hmm. So
And
it says
we
hastily
should probably go
arranged.
over that.
Yeah, just real quick though. Hastily arranged votes dismissed by Kiev's Western partners who will not recognize the results. So yeah, this is the kind of thing, like Russia does this all the time. They roll into an area, they like take over an area, or maybe they like fund a bunch of mercenaries, or they send in their troops that don't wear their flag. They're just like, oh, suddenly there's a bunch of guys showed up and they have Russian equipment, but who knows who they are. And then as soon as they take control, they hold an election, and the referendum shows, oh, they all want to join Russia now suddenly.
Even
You know
though
what I mean?
they held the referendums with by going door to door and with soldiers with guns and at polling places that are just guarded by Russian mercenaries.
Yep. So that was also a
It's
thing.
like, oh, you're gonna vote, and we're gonna. You better vote right.
You better vote right. Well, here's the thing. One woman in Ukraine said that you have to answer the soldier verbally, and then the soldier marks the answer on the sheet and then keeps the sheet. And
that's
they're
totally
doing
fair and legitimate.
they're doing this voting door to door for security. So Russian soldiers go, they get your verbal vote, they mark it on a sheet, and then they go. And that sounds kind of ridiculous, doesn't it? That sounds like it's Jesus. Like, how could anyone look at this and say that this is?
Oh, it doesn't need to be legitimate, Dev. They just need the power to make it legitimate.
Yeah. That's true.
I also wanted
Kind
to point out that these weren't even just Russian soldiers. Like, a Russian soldier, that's one thing, but near universally, the polling guards appear to be Chechens.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
those are not the kind of people you argue with.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this person says that they voted to. My dad put down no to joining Russia. And then the mother of the family asked what would happen if since we voted no. They said nothing. I highly doubt it's going to be nothing. Give it a few months if the Russians are still there. You know what I mean?
I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll keep track.
Yeah, they'll be keeping track.
The ball's on the people who would still vote no.
There's been
even with, like
Yeah.
a soldier with guns pointing at them, though, or not really pointing at them, just like around. Like,
Oh, is there?
you don't need to point a gun at people, dude.
Is there video of it happening? There might be video of it happening.
Yeah, there are videos.
You guys can hear this. Let's see.
There's been international condemnation of the self-styled referendums being held in parts of Ukraine on joining Russia. The G7, the group of 7 wealthiest nations, have called the votes a sham, as reports emerged of Russian forces intimidating people to vote. These are the 4 areas where voting is being held. They include occupied parts of Luhansk and Donetsk in the east, Zaporizhia and Kherson in the south, and cover around 15% of Ukraine's territory. Voting is expected to run until Tuesday, and the result seems almost certain to go in Moscow's favour. These pictures, filmed in Russian-occupied Donetsk, show representatives taking polling cards to people in their own homes. Here, at least, it's not a secret ballot. Meanwhile, Russia is continuing to mobilise its reserve troops with the latest. Here's our Russia editor, Steve Rosenberg.
It was the moment the Kremlin tried to show the people still back their president and what he's doing in Ukraine. Within days, Vladimir Putin is expected to annex a huge swathe of Ukrainian territory. There's international condemnation. But at home, the official picture is they trust Putin. Many of the people here, though, didn't trust us. When we asked the simple question, why have you come to this rally? There was a certain reluctance to answer. But they had something to say on the subject of mobilization. The call-up is worrying everyone with relatives of fighting age, Natalia says. Not Viera. I'd be much happier if my son got wounded fighting in Ukraine than die of alcoholism here, she says. Fighting is a proper man's job.
This is not a spontaneous...
As a man, why are you not dying in a war?
I mean, to be fair, there's a certain Giga Chad component to that. I mean, fair enough. Who wants to be drinking themselves to death?
Yeah, but why did you raise your son to be an alcoholic?
I think it's just Russia raised him to be an alcoholic. Fuck. Was all this... Yeah, here, the back to election stuff here.
Schools, from factories and other state organizations.
In Ukraine today, in those areas occupied by Russian troops, self-styled referendums began on joining Russia. The West has denounced the votes as a sham, a smokescreen for annexation by Moscow. Back in Russia, more goodbyes, more men called up to fight in Ukraine. There's growing concern here that the scale of mobilization is far greater than the Kremlin had let on. Emotions are running high. Why have you taken our sons? A mother is heard asking this officer. When he tells the audience that his own son isn't eligible for the call-up, listen to the reaction. For the president, this could become a problem. Vladimir Putin once promised Russians stability. Now, he's sending them to the front line. Persuading Russians to keep faith in him won't be easy. Steve Rosenberg, BBC News, Moscow.
And
that being said, actually, wait. If you got before I go on to the next thing, you guys want to talk about that for a minute? Because I'm just gonna quickly find my next thing here. I'll just take this away. Here we go.
Right, as Arch brought up, there's already like people fighting back against the mobilization, and just like say no. Like people, there's also people like
Just say no, kids.
there. Yes, to say no, getting conscription to say no. But there's like there are like videos of Russians breaking their legs and breaking their arms to avoid the draft.
Oh yeah, I've got those. We'll get to those in a minute. Jesus. There's some brutal stuff
And
coming out.
after the mobilization was announced, like there's been like a explosion of like a search of just like how to break your arms cleanly and
How to cleanly break. Jesus Christ.
or just like yeah, it's just like
Oh my God, hold on. There's one dude in the chat who keeps doing like this whataboutism. Listen, man. Yes, the Ukrainians had a draft. The difference is that Russia's the aggressor here. That's the problem. All right. That is what makes a lot of Ukrainian moves, let's say, morally legitimate, and a lot of Russian moves morally illegitimate. It's because Russia's the invader. Russia struck first. All right. Like there's. I understand the desire to like both sides it, but I think this time it's a bit more clear cut in a lot of ways. You know what I mean?
yeah, well, unless you're like 2 IQ.
A 2 IQ. Wait, Archie still there?
Getting evaded is like probably like the best reason for a draft as there is. Like
Yeah. If you're getting invaded, yeah.
You're moral fagging about this. I'm just enjoying a good war.
Yes, I am moral fagging about it. I'm a moral person, Arch.
war is bad.
War bad.
War is humanity's greatest invention.
Arch, are you going to now? Are you going to march down from Norway and reclaim the British Isles? Is that what's going on here?
At some point, but not right now. Here's the thing. Norway is the only reason why Britain won't freeze to death this winter. We're going to build up some goodwill points first, and then we'll liberate them.
Okay,
A few more governments like they've had, and I'm pretty sure they'll welcome us with open arms.
Oh, there's someone in the chat again. Like, there's always a few people in the chat who just seem to be retarded. It's like, oh, the old unprovoked. Yeah, unprovoked. All right, I don't buy this whole NATO's encircling Russia bullshit. That's retarded. That's retarded. It's like, listen. Oh, NATO's moving into these countries around Russia, and that makes Russia feel like it can't do what it wants. Well, what exactly does NATO prevent Russia from doing? Invading other countries? Maybe that's a good thing, you know? I have a feeling that if Ukraine was in NATO, say 10 years ago, this shit probably wouldn't have happened. All right? There's a reason that Russia's going after Ukraine and not any of the other countries on its border that has a NATO presence. So no, I don't buy this Russia was just a good boy going to college nonsense. Okay?
Don't you see? They have no choice but to invade because all these nations they want to voluntarily join a defense alliance that that says we don't like it when Russia invades us. So of course they would feel threatened. They're preventing them from doing what they want. How dare they?
Is there someone you forgot to ask when it comes to consent, guys? I love this picture. It's so funny. Listen,
I just love the buff. I think like the buff chud is his name.
Buff chud.
Yes.
God,
and the NB girlfriend or they friend.
Oh fuck. No, I just love this picture. Also,
I think it's hilarious too.
Man, I know it's like pink hair, shaved side, but I would totally get with Ukraine in this picture. Why the fuck not? I hate the fact that I grew up in an era of suicidegirls.com because like dyed hair is completely ruined for me now.
We have to retake it.
You have to reclaim it?
Reclaim it.
So,
I've
Putin
been
did.
thinking about getting like silver streaks on my hair or something, or maybe purple streaks, slightly. I'm not gonna go full like purple hair with pronouns.
Put the pronouns in your hair. That's what you'll do.
Yes.
So Putin gave a speech at the annexation ceremony. Wait, what the fuck, Lars? I'm not reading the chat 24/7, dude. You fucking weirdo. All right. Okay.
Bev, only read the chat if they're paying us. Okay. don't read the
Listen,
retarded fucking.
I
idiots
can't be
that
that
aren't
kind of a
even
guy.
paying us.
I can't be just a sellout. All right, so Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday presided over a ceremony at the Kremlin to annex 4 Ukrainian regions. Let's see. So he said, apparently, I want the Kiev authorities and their real masters in the West to hear me so that they remember this. People living in Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia are becoming our citizens forever. We call on the Kiev regime to immediately end hostilities, end the war that they unleashed back in 2014, and return to the negotiating table. We are ready for this, but we will not discuss the choice of the people in Donetsk, Luhansk, etc. that has been made. Russia will not betray them. We will defend our land with all the powers and means at our disposal.
They're not your land, fuck it.
In 1991, at the Belozovsk Forest, without asking the will of ordinary citizens, representatives of the then party elites decided to destroy the USSR, and people suddenly found themselves cut off from their motherland. This tore apart and dismembered our nation, becoming a national catastrophe. I admit that
destroy the USSR.
Yeah, destroy the communists. Fuck them. I admit that they did not fully understand what they were doing and what consequences this would inevitably lead to in the end. But this is no longer important. There is no Soviet Union. The past cannot be brought back. And Russia today does not need it anymore. We are not striving for this. The battlefield to which fate and history have called us is the battlefield for our people, for our great historical Russia, for future generations, our children, our grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Sanctions are not enough for the Anglo-Saxons. They moved on to sabotage. It is hard to believe, but it is a fact that they organized the blasts on the Nord Stream international gas pipelines, which run along the bottom of the Baltic Sea. It is clear to everyone who benefits from this. I don't know about that. Like, do we really know what happened to the pipeline yet?
Yeah, it was
So
the
far we
Americans.
It was the Americans?
I near guarantee it.
You think so, eh? Like doing a psyops kind of thing?
Like, I have no evidence, and we're not going to get any evidence either, mind you. But Russia has nothing to gain from blowing up the pipelines, because they can already make up, and they already have made up, any reason they want to stop it. Nord Stream 1 was not running because the Russians were like, no, vital piece of equipment no longer function, comrade. What can do? They have no reason to blow it up, nor did they have the capacity to either. And just incidentally, the Americans were diving in that area 2 months ago, but
I mean, fair enough, right? Like, who knows? Maybe we'll know in like 30 years when the things get declassified. Who knows? Nuclear precedent. The United States is the only country in the world that has twice used nuclear weapons, destroying the Japanese city. Yep. Even today, they actually occupy Germany, Japan, the Republic of Korea, and other countries, and at the same time, cynically call them allies of equal standing.
I mean, true.
True, yeah.
True, but do they want us out?
Yeah, here's the thing, though. Like, a lot of people in these countries are like, yeah, maybe they should stick around, though. they're kind of happy to have the Americans, because in terms of like all other historical empires, the Americans do kind of rule with a very soft hand, all things considered.
Well, the Japanese are not very fond of them, and they haven't been for a while due to many American-involved rape cases in Okinawa in particular.
I mean, true, yes, like, obviously. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that if you ask Japan, hey, listen, what if America just fucked off completely and then let you fend for yourself against China? They'd be like, wait a minute. Hold on.
Yes. If the...
yeah.
Like, if we're asking the question here... Mm-hmm. Whether you would prefer to be occupied by America or the Soviets, you know.
Yeah.
Most would prefer America.
Mm-hmm. So, on Western Satanism, they have moved on entirely to a radical denial of moral norms, religion, and family. The dictatorship of Western elites is directed against all societies, including the peoples of the Western countries themselves. This is a challenge to all. This is a complete denial of humanity, the overthrow of faith and traditional values. Indeed, the suppression of freedom itself has taken on the features of a religion, outright Satanism. Now, here's the thing, like, you can see some decent critiques of the West's recent behaviors and what Putin's saying, but there's a big but. There's a big but attached to that, and it's that Russia is and would be far worse.
The thing is, he's not wrong when he's saying this, but he's also only saying it because he knows this is something that we recognize as well.
Yes.
It shows how much it shows how far the West has fallen in that we no longer have the ability to sit upon our high horse. Like 30, 40 years ago, we could look to Russia and go like, you're kidding me. We are nothing like you at all. Like, we have freedom. You do not. Now we have to look to Russia and go, yeah, but you're still worse.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
This is the funny part, though, where he goes about colonialism.
The West began
Well,
its
that's the
colonial
thing.
policy. Oh, go on.
The amusing thing is you can see that he's just trying to play both sides. It's the same when they first invaded Ukraine, it was to denazify it.
Yeah.
He is simply trying to speak to both sides of our political paradigm in the hopes that someone will side with them.
It's very clear who he's trying to appeal to with that line.
Yeah, in colonialism, the West began its colonial policy back in the Middle Ages and then followed the slave trade, the genocide of the Indian tribes in America, the plunder of India, of Africa, the wars of England and France against China. What they did was hooking entire nations on drugs, deliberately exterminate entire ethnic groups. For the sake of land and resources, they hunted people like animals. This is contrary to the very nature of man, truth, freedom, and justice.
And as we all know, Russia has never, ever participated in colonialism.
Fuck.
Their hands are totally clean, guys.
Nor any sort of large-scale genocide of native populaces either, mind you.
Jesus Christ. And oh yeah, here's the spiciest part. Education and gender. Do we really want here in our country, in Russia, instead of mom and dad, to have parent number 1 and parent number 2 and parent number 3? Have they gone completely insane? Do we really want it drilled into children in our schools that there are supposedly genders besides woman and man, and children to be offered the chance to undergo sex change operations? We have a different future, our own future. And it's like, fair enough, right? It's one thing entirely to have these things available to adults who want them. It's another thing entirely to have doctors performing surgeries on children. That is ridiculous to me. I cannot, in good conscience, stand with the West on that one.
Well, it's pretty ridiculous that he's using this as justifications for
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
annexation, the invasion, and the slaughter of Ukrainians.
Yeah.
As it's like, okay, what the fuck does this have to do with what the shit you're doing?
Well, I think from their point, to completely steel man the Russian position, they're seeing this stuff happen, and they're saying we need. They're using this as an excuse, and I don't think they actually really care. But this is their excuse. We need to prevent this from happening to other societies, And Arch, I think we both saw that picture a few days ago of there was like a 15-year-old girl who had bottom surgery, and they pulled like a bunch of muscle out of her forearm, and it looks fucking disgusting, to give her a fake penis and to like surgically graft that shit in there. And like that's insane. You're fucking 15 years old. Like, no, that's too much. That's too far.
Yeah, wait till you're an adult for those types of invasive like procedures. But again, it doesn't remotely justify the shit
Putin's
Russia's
doing. Yes,
doing.
obviously, yes. Yeah.
No. And the reason why he's doing this as well, and you can kind of detect he's getting a little bit desperate at this point, because right now this is just a fucking grab bag. Like, we've gone from the far left critique to the far right critique. We've talked about transitioning children and colonialism at the same time.
Yeah.
He's trying to appeal to like
everyone.
The people on the right in the West, and people on the left with the colonial shit.
Yeah.
It's just
He's
like,
Yep.
trying to just scatter it across the political spectrum, hoping that someone will back him on it.
yep, and there are some idiots that are foolish enough and gullible enough to just, he's saying some of these things he says are right. Oh, that must mean we should support the annexation and the slaughter of Ukrainians. It's just like,
Yeah.
Well,
okay,
it's one of those brainlet positions where you either have to accept all of somebody's position or none of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm all for Hitler making the trains run on time. I'm more skeptical against everything else.
Yeah, fair enough, right? Like, so when I did that big fascism video of mine like 2 weeks ago or a week ago, whatever it was, I noticed like a lot of the stuff in that I was reading kind of pointed towards that there's no longer really any serious left-right divide anymore. Now the divide is like institutional populist, because you have extremists on the outside of the political spectrum, on the left and the right, who are on the fringes, and they have more in common with each other than they do with liberals and conservatives. So I really do think that like the divide now is probably institutional versus populist. You know, the people who are reformists and who think that our Western systems are generally good, and we have to like critique them and tweak them and change them when necessary, but we don't want to tear everything down. Versus the people who are completely on the outside and who want a revolution from all different points of view, but they still ultimately are anti-liberal. And I think that's probably the big divide now. It's not left versus right anymore. And I think that's why a lot of Putin's criticisms are very scattershot in that way.
Very possible.
Of course, NATO will never recognize Russia's sham referendums because, of course, they won't.
But they're not going to do anything about it, so ultimately it's fucking pointless.
Yeah, I actually I don't think I have it in this pile of articles here, but I think Zelensky is trying to like fast track his country's NATO application, and Biden's like, "Well, hold on there, son."
Well, that's the thing. He can say that, oh, I'm going on the fast track. It doesn't matter. Like, NATO's charter it's expressly forbids a country that is in active conflict from joining NATO. He can fast track it all he fucking wants. He can't.
Yeah. I mean,
I
maybe
still think they should be allowed to join NATO once whatever this shit ends, though, just to prevent future invasions.
The issue is,
maybe.
from a geostrategic situation, this is actually perfect for us. Like,
Yes.
cold-hearted as it sounds, but the longer the Slavs kill each other, the better for our position.
Why do you say?
Well, Russia was our only real, actual, genuine threat over here, and we were very unsure about how strong they were, because they had developed a lot of new weapon system, and we didn't know if they worked. That's the problem with modern weapons. The hypersonic missiles, for example, were like, oh my god, this could be really dangerous. Turns out they have an accuracy that's absolutely dreadful. Turns out that Russia's seed capabilities are next to zero. Turns out their training is awful. Their tanks are outdated as hell, and they're helpless against modern anti-tank guided missile weaponry. And now that they've also had most of their stockpiles reduced to scrap, Russia's not a military threat to NATO anymore at all. Which means that the longer this goes on, even less of a threat they'll be. Ideally speaking, this will be one of those forever wars, and Russia will not be a military threat to NATO for 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
It's gonna take them a really long time to replace the troops because, like, of Russia's birth rate. Really, there's just not enough Russians being born and being raised up to in order
And
to
it's
replace the people that are sent to the grinder.
Yeah.
It's the development of technology as well. Like, it's going to take Russia, like, optimistically, 10 years to produce basic microchips, the likes of which we put in everything over here. To make military level hardware to even compare to what we have, now that we know that what they have is shit, like, they're 20, 30 years behind us. Easy.
Yeah. There was so much copium from people saying that like this was the end of the West. It's like, no, guys. Nope.
Oh, the Russian bear is gonna tear apart our Latham armies.
Mm-hmm.
Look at
Now,
how
I
manly
will
their
say,
recruitment stats are.
it has also demonstrated serious weaknesses in West's preparation as well. In that we can't produce javelins quickly enough. We literally can't. Like, the West is actually running out of weapons to feed to Ukraine. We are realizing like we are not producing munitions on the scale that would be required of a modern war. But again, this is why this is such a valuable lesson for the West, and why we kind of want it to continue, so we can keep looking at it and go like, aha, okay, so that works this way and that works that way. And
Yeah. I see. Here's the thing. I have a feeling like if something serious really happened, I think America could definitely like ramp up production. Like if they went into total war mode, I think it'd be fucked. Like they would overrun the entirety of Europe in a matter of days if America got serious. But the problem is like America's like, didn't the Japanese describe America as like a sleeping giant? I think it's kind of what it is. You know, they're not currently awake. They're not currently awake.
There are issues with theoretical production capacity. Like right now, for example, the America can't produce more than a couple thousand javelins a year because the production simply hasn't been scaled for it. Everything can, of course, be scaled up to an extent, but it's also just the cost of this shit. It's just so ludicrously expensive. But the conversely thing of this is too, it's so expensive, sure, but we're actually trading it at a very good rate. Like, you switch out a javelin, okay, that's $150,000 for a tank. That's $500,000. Okay, you're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cost and benefit analysis.
And it wouldn't be like that. Like, we wouldn't be relying on javelins to knock out Russian tanks. We would have absolute air superiority. We would be dropping dumb bombs on them from 10,000 feet out of their maximum range. Like, that's the thing. This war is a ground war, which is very unusual. In an actual war against NATO, the NATO troops would barely even see the enemy. Like, they'd see them on radar and go like, bomb that. And the Russians
Yeah.
couldn't do dick about it.
Yeah, that is completely true. Yeah.
Just strafe them till they're gone.
One of
Literally.
those cities that Russia said is part of Russia now and we'll never give it back. They've withdrawn.
Yep.
They've pulled back, and the Ukrainian forces are pushing forward again.
There was that picture of mission accomplished.
Oh yeah. Wait, do I have it? Hold on.
Yes.
Is it? Yes, this one. Mission accomplished. Fucking dude, Monkey Putin is like one of the better memes out there for sure.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished, guys.
Which is even more, which is like photoshopped up on
Yeah, George Bush
a
in
picture of
2003.
George Bush.
Yeah.
But which is even more. But this is even faster of a disaster than this.
I don't think it is.
Picture.
I don't think so. I think this picture was taken 2 months after the Iraq War started.
At least
it's been
Bush
5 months.
won the war, though. Like, he can actually say he won the war.
Yes.
Yeah, he took over Iraq, but he couldn't actually hold it or like build it up. It just turned into a fucking swamp. Russia can't even take Ukraine.
No, they announced that they've annexed the territories and that they're never gonna give it back. And the very next day, they lost Lyman.
Yep.
Now, to be fair, this is a part of the Russian withdrawal to the more fortified lines. So, the Ukrainian offensive has been going on for the last week and a half, and we're not sure if it's an actual breakthrough yet or if it's simply a part of the Russian withdrawal, because they started withdrawing last month, and they've kind of been just slowing the Ukrainians down. So, we're not sure how big of a breakthrough this is, but from what I've seen, there might be as many as 5,500 Russian troops captured in this pocket, which would make it one of the most significant Ukrainian victories so far.
Yeah. Of course, in the UN, of course, Russia vetoed because that's just normal. You know, people like to like to criticize the UN about this sort of stuff, but honestly, I think it probably serves its purpose for large scale projects where everyone has to say yes to it. You know, it's not going to handle a situation like this, but I don't think it's meant to handle a situation like this. I don't think we should expect. I don't think we should expect it to. I think the UN works best as a mechanism where if countries agree on doing a thing, then they can all come together and do it. You know?
Yes, the it was a mistake to introduce Russia into this, though, because
To give them
the
veto
United
power.
Nations, yeah, like the United Nations is very much so a European project, and there was this pipe dream back in the day when Russia was flirting with democracy for a bit that they could be introduced to, our way of doing things, and didn't work out, and now we're kind of, in this
At the square
position.
one.
Yeah. Oh well. And that's right. Yeah, I think this is just another article of the retreat, because there is Russia acknowledging that it lost nearly all of the northern region of Kharkiv after the blitzkrieg thrust by Ukrainian fighters. So things like it's not like it's that Ukrainians have won or anything, but things I think the tide is probably slowly turning in their favor, at least right now. But this is not over by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep.
The question is how far Putin is willing to push it. Because, okay, they've got 300,000 recruits. That's going to take 6 months at least to train. I've heard reports of draft notices being sent out in Belarus too, which is very interesting. Because if they manage to drag in Belarus, then here's the problem. Ukraine is pushing right now, but Ukraine is also beat to shit after 6 months of this.
Yeah.
How much longer can they sustain this? And if Russia manages to launch further sustained offensives along the border and drag in Belarus, how many more good troops do Ukraine have before they have to rely on National Guards and reservists?
Just out of curiosity, when you say Belarus, do you mean Belarus, right?
Belarus, same thing.
I've never heard Belarus before, but okay. All right.
We
That's a good
call
name
it
for
White Russia over here more correctly. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
yes, Belarus.
Yeah.
Basically a Russian puppet state.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the fact that now that these places are part of Russia, it unlocks Putin's theoretical justification for nuclear weapons, since the legal reason for using nuclear weapons is for Russia to be in a existential crisis, or be at a threat of an existential threat.
Yeah,
right. He has
attack on the
friends
home. Yeah.
that he would use like nuclear weapons on
Yes.
Ukrainian
Now, we're not
forces.
talking strategic, mind you, but even just a tactical weapon would well, nobody knows how anybody would react, honestly. Like, some people think that NATO would totally react. Then I don't think so, because, well, what would NATO do? Like, would we invade Russia? Are we ready for that?
Jesus. I mean,
It's like, is America going to go like, okay, I know China is growing larger and scarier day by day, but we're going to just move everything to Europe for a bit.
So
Nuke them back.
Nuke them back. Just remember when there was that leak from like where Trump was talking to Putin. He's like, "Listen, if you fuck with Ukraine while I'm in office, I'll just nuke Moscow." And Putin's like, "You're joking, right?" And Trump's like, "No."
Yep. Hey, that was the beauty. Like, there is an absolute there is a utility in the madman in office. There genuinely is. Because Biden's never going to do that. And Putin knows that for damn sure. But Trump, he probably wouldn't do it, but you don't know,
He might.
do you?
He might.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I mean, the whole NATO doctrine is that, like, if you hit one country that's part of NATO, then everyone gets involved, and America's involved, and there's nukes on the side of NATO, and they're like the whole point.
If Russia used nukes if Russia used nukes in Ukraine, I think NATO could make the argument that the radiation will affect all of Europe, and it's also that means it's also an attack on NATO countries.
Maybe, but the general idea is that no one's gonna fuck with NATO because you don't want everyone going after you, and so like the reason that you got these countries with a NATO presence on the border of Russia and Russia's not touching them is because Russia's like, listen, I don't want to go to war with like 20 fucking countries here. Fair enough, right? But we don't actually know what would happen. Like would NATO blink if Putin was like, you know what? I think you're all just bluffing. You're not gonna be stupid enough to nuke Moscow. You're not gonna be. We're just gonna actually attack a NATO country. Like, I don't know if NATO would blink or not. I'd hope not, because if NATO did, then everything falls apart.
Oh yeah, that would set a precedent saying, "Oh, it's okay for them to use nukes. No, we're just not gonna do shit."
Yeah.
That would be a terrible thing if
Yeah.
if NATO just does nothing in response.
Mm-hmm.
The main guarantee is the intermixed nature of NATO forces on Russia's border. Basically, if Russia attacked those three little stupid countries, Lithuania,
Latvia,
blah blah
yeah.
blah, yes,
Yeah.
those are defended by coalition forces. So if Russia attacked there, they would be attacking like 3 or 4 nations right away. So that would almost certainly cause it. If they were to attack Norway, that would guaranteeably cause a NATO response because NATO can't afford to lose Norway. We produce all of their gas right now. NATO would react to an overt military attack on a member state, but I am not convinced that they will intervene, even if tactical nukes were used against Ukraine. Partially because I don't think we're not ready for it. Like, our armies are built for defense and basically to defend ourselves until the Americans arrive to the rescue. We don't really have an invasion force ready for Russia.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know, for example, there's a lot of Canadian troops in Latvia right now. That's the thing that I know about being a Canadian, right?
Yep. I think I think it's one of the Norwegian brigades too, who's it's their turn to be there. I think it's our turn. But there's a constant rotus of NATO troops in there. But like NATO, the only standing troops, quote unquote, NATO have is the Rapid Reaction Force, which is about 11,000 men all told. Like, it's not an invasion force by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the real big issue, at least in terms of, let's say, the popularity of war at home, right? You have a lot of people who are very anti-war, who have a lot of really good arguments. And it's like, listen, we shouldn't be getting involved in wars in other countries. It's easy for you to sit here at home and say that we should go to war when you're not going to be the one going. Like, lots of decent arguments. But the problem is that sometimes, not all the time, depends on the situation, depends on who you're facing, but sometimes those people, they end up carrying the anti-war argument to the point that, like, you've now disarmed your own country and put your own country on the back foot against an actual threat. That's the was it Chamberlain versus Churchill? That's like that argument.
Yes. And to an extent, we have unfortunately already allowed ourselves to arrive at that point because Europe has grown far too reliant on the US. Like, as much as we can be grateful for the American bases and helping us out, because without the US, we wouldn't have had stood a chance against the Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
But we have also moved almost the entirety of our own security initiative and responsibility over onto the US to the point where Germany, the fucking Bundeswehr, the force that, humbled Europe solo pretty much. Like, it's barely made up of like 10-20,000 truly quality personnel, and the majority of it just reservists. Like, they've got 1 million fucking weekend warriors, and that's it. Like, Ukraine was looking and like, okay, we would like to buy self-propelled howitzers, Panzerhaubitz, and Germany's like, okay, how many you want? We want 100, and Germany's like, that's everyone we have, though.
There's also the
Because,
fact that there's some countries that are NATO, they're not even contributing the 2% GDP that's required
Yeah, that was Trump's
for
big.
their military.
That was Trump's
Yes.
big.
In fact,
big pet peeve
Germany is at 1.5%.
Yeah.
Pathetic. Wrap it up, Germany.
Uncuck the Germans finally.
Oh God, that's
this
a dangerous fucking route. But
so there is something that you mentioned earlier, Arch, about like how far is Putin willing to go, right? So this came out a little bit ago, where Putin rejected a Ukrainian peace deal recommended by somebody in his government, and this happened early on. Yeah, as the war began, that Putin's chief envoy had struck a deal with Kiev that would satisfy Russia's demand that Ukraine stay out of NATO, but Putin rejected it and pressed ahead with the military campaign. So,
well,
it just
Putin was pretty sure this would be a quick war, and well, I think he's still holding on to some hope that maybe this can be brought to a close rapidly. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. But basically, the deal that was negotiated did not include annexing swaths of Ukrainian territory, so Putin rejected it. Putin has explicitly wanted to annex chunks of Ukrainian territory this whole time. So the deal that they had initially cut of Ukraine stays out of NATO, Ukraine is going to turn more towards Russia in its foreign policy the way that Russia wanted, but you don't get to annex us. Putin rejected that.
They basically want Ukraine to cuck themselves big time.
Yeah.
It's also probably that they don't trust Ukraine because, and this is one of those dodgy points in history, because you remember the Orange Revolution in 2014 before the Crimean stuff.
Yeah.
Because first there was they elected a very Russian-friendly leader, and then he was overthrown by protest elements that were very suspiciously connected, shall we say, to American intelligence agencies, and that upended Ukraine's entire security.
Kind of. That I know what you mean, Arch. That's something I've looked into. It's not exactly as you say. It's a little bit as you say, but not completely. I'll need to do like a full video going over the details of everything that happened, because that's a video I've had in the pipes for like 2 years now.
I've also talked with people that are on the ground in Ukraine who were part of the protests, and it was just like, yeah, we wish the U.S. were
we
involved,
wish the American,
but like,
yeah,
but most of the people were just like, there's just the election that was held was essentially a sham one, and
yeah, I've heard a lot about that too.
People were protesting, and it ramped up when protesters were getting shot by the police, controlled by the at the time president, and they basically they drove them out. And
No, I'm not saying that wasn't the case either, but there are suspicious elements on our side there as well. And it also did lead to a genuine separatist movement forming in the then Luhansk Donbass areas. Like, the Russians were welcomed with open arms by many there.
Yeah, but those separatist elements were also heavily funded by the Kremlin.
They were.
Yeah. So I know that was kind of a big deal, and that's what Russia used to justify everything going forward. But I just have a feeling that it's all kind of BS, to be honest.
Yes, it is.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I recall listening to that phone call. There's like, if you really dig down on a lot of the 2014 Ukrainian claims, a lot of people. I saw like Destiny versus Aiden Paladin on this, where Aiden got like absolutely like butt fucked live on air by Destiny on this one, because she pulls out this phone call, and the phone call has like some American aides and like some American diplomats in Ukraine talking about, you know, who they'd rather see. And it's like, well, yeah, fair enough. But everyone
Doesn't
has
prove anything.
it doesn't prove that they put them in power. You know, like everyone has an opinion on who they'd rather see in office. Like, oh well, and also the guy that the Americans liked, he was already a popular figure among the Ukrainians. It's not like they installed this puppet dictator who has no legitimacy. Like he was the official leader of the opposition. You know, he got voted in. So I'm not sure if there's much weight to, you know, America meddling in Ukraine's affairs in 2014.
And even if, like, supposing they did, it's still zero justifications for the annexation and the invasions.
Yes.
Well, it's the same the same rationale that the US uses when it invades other places. It is a security threat. Like, that's Russia's argument.
Mhm.
And it makes sense to Russia. And just like it makes sense for the Americas when they decided to invade Iraq and Iraq, etc. The problem is who can get
It
away
was
with
bullshit back then, too.
Yeah, that was
Oh, yeah.
bullshit. Yep, that
Saying
was
as
also
an
bullshit.
American.
Yep. You know, all of America's justifications in Iraq were complete bullshit for the exact same reason that all of Russia's justifications in Ukraine are bullshit.
But I will say though, the little green men, a fucking masterstroke. Genuinely brilliant. Like it was so crazy that it shouldn't work. It can't work. Just tell the troops to take the flags off and nobody will can notice. It shouldn't work, and yet it did. That was probably Putin's dangerous overconfidence moment where he figured, if I can get away with this, surely I can get away with anything.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, they were heavily emboldened after Crimea and how the West did basically nothing.
Yep, because
How
the
the
West was
Ukrainians
just
did
sitting there
nothing.
like, well, how do we respond?
So there is one thing that I don't have an article for, and it's mainly just through like a leak from a Russian source that I got from another YouTuber who has like friends in Russia, where basically Putin is, this is all wild speculation, take it with a grain of salt, but the reason that Putin's doing all of this is because he has bowel cancer and he's on his way out, and he basically wants to recapture some of the glory days before he dies. And it's like, well,
I mean,
maybe.
I have, over the course of the last 6-7 months, I think I have heard Putin have every single form of cancer humanly possible.
Yep.
I'm not convinced. Like, I don't like this idea of trying to blame actions that to us seem incomprehensible on crazy or sick or whatever. Putin's actions made perfect sense. Like, he thought Ukraine was weak, so he took advantage of it. He was wrong. Simple. You don't have to explain this by him being crazy or sick or anything. A simple strategic miscalculation explains this perfectly. Because the initial invasion plan was not bad, and they were hours away from succeeding, but war isn't that easy.
Yep. What do I have next here? Oh yeah, this is the pipeline stuff. Oh god damn it! Hold on. I'm going to use my trusty zapper. I love that I installed this. So, that's right. The pipeline sabotage, Russians and West Point fingers over Nord Stream attack. Yep. So I think this is all the stuff you talked about before. I think we already covered this. But there's the pipeline sabotage. Oops. Right. Okay. So, talking about the quality of Russia's military for a second. This did come out a few weeks ago that liberated villages in Ukraine have described Russian troops dropping their rifles and running away. And just like, fuck it, we're out. Russians fled anyway they fled anyway they could on stolen bicycles disguised as locals. Hours after Ukrainian soldiers poured into the area, hundreds of Russian soldiers encamped in the village were gone. Many after their units abandoned them, leaving behind stunned residents to face the ruins of 28 weeks of occupation. Yep, they just dropped the rifles in the ground. Wow.
Imagine just waking up one day and it's just like, Where is Commanding Officer Ivan? Where did he go?
It's like, wait, how come all the tanks and trucks are gone and half the troops are still here? What happened?
When you
Jesus.
got to go, you got to go.
Yeah. Like, Russia does not give a fuck. There's like, yeah, we'll just leave him behind, it's fine.
To be fair, Russia has a long and proud history of this.
Yes, they do.
That they do.
Yeah. Like, fucking hell.
There's also the fact that, like, the quality of the Russian troops, like, this isn't necessarily a soldier issue. It is probably a command, control, and communications issue. Because we saw this in Georgia as well, which the Russians won, quote unquote, but they had to borrow civilian cell phones to get contact with units because all of their official equipment was just shit. And the equipment they have now is not a whole lot better. They do theoretically have GPS cell phones, but they're apparently just as bad, and they don't work, and they don't have enough of them, even the ones they do have. So, well, if you've got 5,000 troops in a village and you've got no way of contacting them other than using the cell network, which the Ukrainians are tracking and bombing,
Mm-hmm.
well, sometimes you don't get the message out to everyone.
Well, that's what happened with in the early days of the war with like I think like Russia has lost like more commanding officers than any other like in recent history.
I've heard a lot about that.
Because
Yeah.
of simply
Losing officers like
because like
mad.
they've been they
Yeah.
just keep sending their officers to the front lines with the ground troops because
And because they've been tracking them, like they're on command the comms, like they're giving out orders, they're giving out instructions over what is essentially open frequency. So the Ukrainians just track it, and then they artillery it.
Yep.
It's like, what the hell, guys? Don't you have like codes for this sort of thing?
No, the thing is they don't. They apparently they took out like the ground communications for the Ukrainians. But in doing so, they also took down communications for themselves because they're using the same cell towers.
Oh, keep in mind though,
Yes.
like a similar thing happened on the other side, right? So you had like dumb like Westerners go to Ukraine to volunteer, and they were like posting selfies at like training
Right,
camps.
that happened as
Oh
well.
fuck! They posted their selfies online, and they had like geodata in the picture, so the Russians just bombed those locations. Holy, like guys, how stupid!
Well, they don't understand that this is modern warfare. Like and the Russians were using this as well frequently.
It's Call of Duty Modern Warfare, you mean?
Yes. The Russians were using this too. Like both sides know how important information warfare is, but the only ones who actually have the gear are the Ukrainians, in large parts because we're giving them billions and billions upon billions of dollars.
Yeah. So, regarding the actual quality of, let's say, the troops and what they have, this was a thing. Yeah. The newly mobilized conscripts, they've been given half-rotten assault rifles. Let's see these. Like, that looks rusted to shit.
Looks like it's been sitting at the bottom of a pond.
Такую шляпу выдали.
I've gotten sent
Да,
a lot of
нахуй
pictures and
калаши
videos
в танке.
of this as well.
Хули вы страдаете хуйней, блядь.
Yeah,
This
like,
shit has been sitting in storage for 10, 20 years without any sort of maintenance. Like, you can see the wood is actually falling
Rotting.
apart.
yeah. There's lots of rust. Like, you put a round in this and you fire it, it'll just blow up in your hands. This is completely unusable. It's just a bit of rust, don't worry. Oh, it looks ready for a restoration video. Can you imagine like a YouTube channel? It's like, today we're going to restore this old AK-47. Fuck.
I mean, it's not irreparable in that state, but you're gonna have to cashier a good 70% of that gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks like you could catch tetanus just holding it.
And of course, there's some of this stuff's all rusted out too.
Yep.
There's a bunch of
Those
pictures
are
going around. Like this.
magazines. You can see
Yeah.
the ones in the middle. They're actually rusted through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally unusable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this was kind of funny. So, in Battlefield 1, like, you know, World War I game, this is what the shovel looked like. The exact same shovel in use in
But
real
worse.
life in the Russian army, using World War I era equipment.
There
just-
have, unironically, been pictures of recruiting troops with Mosins.
God.
Fucking bolt-action rifles.
Fucking hell, man. No worries, Ivan is good rifle. This is like if you're watching Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers, and they have that scene where like the children are being given like the worst helmets and swords. And it's like, it's fine. Go out there. You'll be okay.
Oh, here we go. This one
You'll
here,
be
you see one of
fine.
them. Here you've got Russian troops. That guy is carrying, unironically, a fucking Mosin Nagant.
Let me open it up here.
World War II, like late World War I era weaponry.
Oh, Jesus, that is an old gun.
Yep. Bolt action fucking rifle.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. You know, I have heard that Russians have, in terms of like special forces, the best special forces in the world. You know, better than like the American Marines. But most Russian soldiers aren't special forces.
And that's the thing too. It was the VDV who fucked up the capture of Kiev airport and probably cost the Russians the war too.
Right, where they
Really?
sent a bunch of elite VDV soldiers.
Yep.
And they
They
just
had,
got blasted out of the sky.
2 advanced battalions of VDV sent in to capture that airbase, and they were the ones who were pulsed by the the 17th Independent Tank or something, which was the unit that they made on the NATO standard, the Ukrainians. And to be fair, though, that was a ridiculous attack. Like they helicoptered in the first few thousand troops, then they tried dropping them directly onto the airfield in fucking a goddamn World War II parachute style attack on day 2.
just like a backpack with like a parachute
Yeah,
in
like,
it.
they sent in IL transports and just dropped them on top of it. Like the casualties must have been fucking disgusting.
Jesus.
And the VDV failed to take Kiev airport, and without that, they couldn't bring in reinforcements. Without that, they couldn't bring in supplies, and that was what halted the entire drive from the northern end against Kiev. So
Fucking
it was
hell.
the VDV who fucked that up.
Yeah, that's a pretty big fuck up. Like the entire war might have gone completely differently if they had the airport, huh?
Yep, because they could have brought in supplies, they could have flown in extra troops, they could have been in Kiev with VDV and special forces on day 2, hunting for Zelensky. And if they'd captured him, the whole thing would have been over. Because say what you want about him, I think he probably is as corrupt a fucking bastard as most Eastern European leaders are, but he has done a fantastic job for Ukraine.
Yeah, like morale-wise, yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's for sure.
no question about it. Not to mention all of the support he has rallied.
Oh yeah, so someone wanted me to show this. Here's your conscripts, guys.
Is that Ethan Ralph?
The Russian Ethan Ralph has been recruited.
Those are some amazing guns.
Yeah.
Well, it'll stop a bullet too, I guess.
You know, I'm pretty fat, but I don't think I'm this fat.
Like in video games, like the fat enemies have more health.
Yeah, the boomers. Yeah.
So, what if it translates here? Yeah, just let the fat block the bullets.
And I saw this. Right. Russian looters are now covertly hiding washing machines and ammo crates. So apparently, as a result of various things happening in Russia, there's like a shortage of washing machines in Russia right now. So you have soldiers taking Ukrainian washing machines and bringing them back to Russia for their families, hiding them in ammo crates.
Нашел ящик.
Come on here. There's subtitles. You guys can read it, hopefully.
Нашел ящик. Думали, що ж тут може бути. Оказується, блядь, вони додумалися, блядь, позбивати ящики і всунути сюди стиральні машинки. Це просто пиздец.
So yeah,
Yep.
That's what the war is really about. It's
the
to
washing
steal-
machines.
I mean, look, if
valuable
you're
washing
already
machines.
at war, you might as well find some way to benefit.
And this came out about a month ago, where a Russian paratrooper wrote a diary about his experience in Ukraine and how it was just like a complete fucking shit show. This guy's probably dead at this point. This is now a month old. They probably killed him because this went viral. And he says, I'm aware of the consequences for disseminating information about my military service, but to conceal it from me means contributing to more losses. The entire nation has been denied the pleasure of admiring unshaven, unwashed, filthy, emaciated paratroopers who are angry either at the stubborn Ukrainians who are refusing to denazify themselves, or at
How
their
dare
own
they?
or at their own talentless commanders who are incapable of equipping them even in wartime. Like, he's being sarcastic here. Like, this guy's
Yeah, I
very
know.
anti-war. Yeah,
You don't say.
yeah. Who knows? It might not translate, right? So he arrived in a training camp in Crimea less than 2 weeks before the February 24th invasion of Ukraine, to find his entire squadron made up of 40 people having to share a single tent equipped with one stove. Even in Chechnya, where we lived in tents or in mud huts, our living conditions were organized better. Here we had nowhere to wash up. For those who arrived later than the rest, me and about 5 other people, there was neither a sleeping bag nor camouflage, armor, or helmets left. He just had his rifle. Rifle was rusty, had a broken belt, and kept getting jammed. Some people cracked jokes that now we would attack Ukraine and capture Kiev in 3 days, but already then I thought this is no time for laughter. I said that if something like this were to happen, we would not capture anything in 3 days. And I think this is actually a pretty... No, actually, no, it's not as long as I thought it was. Let's see. Everything changed on that day. I noticed how people began to change. Some were nervous and tried not to talk to anyone. Some seemed openly scared. Some, on the contrary, were unusually cheerful and upbeat. And then they were finally... something happened at 4 a.m. I understood that something global was happening. I didn't know what exactly. He said one of his commanders tried to raise the troops' morale, but he could see that the officer was freaking out amid the chaos. So... They were sent to capture Kherson. On the way, they encountered bedraggled, wild-eyed comrades who told them in graphic detail how they spent a sleepless night collecting Russian corpses. When they finally reached Kherson, they were starving, sleep-deprived, cold, and filthy. They began to ransack buildings in search of food and anything valuable. We ate everything like savages, all that there was: cereal, oatmeal, jam, honey, coffee. Nobody cared about anything. We were already pushed to the limit. In early March, they were ordered to attack Mykolaiv and Odessa. While wandering through the woods, he said he asked a commander about their next move and was told that the senior officer had no idea what to do. The Russian offensive ground to a halt amid the Ukrainian resistance. And then the next month of his life was Groundhog Day, meaning it was just repeating over and over. We were digging in, artillery was shelling us, our aviation was almost nowhere to be seen. We just held positions in the trenches in the front line. We could not shower, eat, or sleep properly. Jesus, like, what the fuck's on this guy's tank? Just
Booty.
Just stuff. It's like, I stole all this stuff. Let's go. All right. Some grandmother poisoned our pies. Almost everyone got fungus. Someone's teeth fell out. Our skin was peeling off. As conditions deteriorated...
Don't mess with the babushkas.
Yeah, dude. Some desperate soldiers began to shoot themselves to get a payout from the Russian government and go home. He ended up getting sent home because an artillery volley kicked up a cloud of dirt that got into his face, causing a serious pink eye style infection that nearly cost him his eye. But he did get out. Then returning to Russia, he said that he decided to follow his conscience and do everything in his power to stop this madness. We do not have the moral right to attack another country, especially the people closest to us. So, he published his journal.
Concluded by saying no to war.
Yep, no to war. But he published his journal. You can find the entire journal online. But, like, I'm pretty sure this guy is dead at this point. It's been a month. What he did was highly illegal. So they probably already axed him. But still, it seems like the invasion was a shit show.
Write it down anyway, so.
Yeah. But it seems like it's a shit show over there.
We saw a lot of this in the early days. I linked another picture there, which shows what is supposed to be the explosive reactive armor of the tanks, and they're just plywood boxes. There's just fucking wood in there. And a lot of their gear, like this is what he's talking about. Their shit gear that they don't have enough, because a lot of the officers habitually would sell this shit off. Like there was a thriving black market to sell off weapons, ammunitions, protection, body armor, food. So by the time the invasion actually rolled around, like this is the standard of equipment that they had.
So just to be clear, these tabs here on the side of the tank, that's supposed to be the armor that protects the tank from being shelled. But inside the armor, they just replaced all the expensive components with wood.
Expensive. Dev, do you know what ERA is?
No. Tell me about it.
God damn it, Dev. ERA stands for Explosive Reactive Armor. The idea is modern-day anti-tank weaponry use a tandem system where there's a very powerful welding beam of heat, basically, that cuts through the armor. The point of explosive reactive armor is that the explosives, these boxes are supposed to be filled with explosives, layer upon layer of explosives. That's what the plywoods were supposed to be.
Okay, yeah.
So that they will detonate first and blow pieces of metal out, thereby hitting the warhead and skewing it away from the hull itself, therefore protecting the tank.
Right. So theoretically, if a rocket were to hit this part, what would happen is these would also detonate, blowing away the rocket shrapnel.
Yes, that would, but yeah, close enough. That would prevent damage to the tank. But plywood does not have the same explosive properties.
So just filling it with, I mean, they look like drawers, like the front of a drawer with like a handle, you know?
Yes. Inside of those, that's where the actual explosives is supposed to be. Like sandaled in there is supposed to be explosives instead of those plywood plates.
Someone in the chat is saying that these are explosives. Yeah. That these
Americans did this, so like there would be court-martial and possibly executed.
Yeah, maybe.
But
so yeah, some people in the chat are saying that these things that we're calling plywood are in fact the explosives.
No. Here, I'll give you a picture. Like this is what one of them is supposed to look like on the inside.
Okay, hold on. Let me just quickly bring that up here.
That's the Contact 5 explosive reactive armor.
Okay.
Yeah, does not look like plywood at all.
Yep.
So you can see the difference here. That is actual plywood. I had a wood file of mine look at it too, and he's like, "Yeah, plywood." You can probably identify the type if given time.
Why even put plywood in there? Well, just to have something to ship out that like has some weight to it. So when the guy's attaching it to the tank, he's like, "Yeah, this seems right."
Yeah, like if you're hefting it up and you're like, "Okay, well, it feels roundabout right for the weight and the consistency, etc." Like it doesn't jingle because if it's empty, you can feel that too.
Yeah. The IKEA armor. Jeez.
Fuck, imagine being like a tank soldier training all your life. You expect the tank to protect you a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, now you'll be very sad.
And very dead, possibly.
So, there's been a lot of Russians who are just like, fuck this. Because I need to keep registered. No, I don't. Hold on, let me zap it again. Which one do I zap? Oh shit, I zapped the whole article. Okay, hold on. Do I zap this? No. There we go. Wait, no, I didn't. Do I zap? God
Let's use
damn it.
archive. Let's use archive.is.
But my zapper. Fuck.
It
Okay.
doesn't work, Dev.
I'll use archive. Give me a second. Okay.
The Guardian has outwitted him.
Yes. So recently there was that big mobilization, right? Where they're like, okay, we're losing. We got to call in like a bunch more Russians we got to draft them. Oh, it wasn't actually. It's not on the archive. Okay, I'll check out the other archive. There's 2 of them. And basically, a bunch of Russians are like, fuck no. I don't want to go to war in Ukraine. And, I don't blame them, man. Is this the whole article? Yes, it is. We might not need the whole article nonetheless. I'll grab it anyway. Yeah. Kremlin attempts to calm Russian fury over chaotic mobilization.
Yeah, they fucked up a lot of the mobilization too, sending out mobilizations instructions to people who weren't eligible, etc.
Mm-hmm. It took Alina 3 goes at the local conscription center to get her husband out of Russia's war in Ukraine. She knew the local officials managing the mobilization in her town. So when her husband, who has health problems because of his weight and served in the army more than 15 years ago, was called up, she began hassling them to review his case. I told them, what war? Have they gone crazy? And the top official just gave me this sad look. But as protests broke out last week and anger grew over the conscription...
That's the thing. They're still calling it the special military operation.
Yep. But as protests broke out, something changed. Suddenly they said that her husband's call-up was a mistake. They told me that we were lucky, but they couldn't help us if there was another round of mobilization. So this is Russia's first draft since the Second World War. Hundreds of thousands of men have left their homes to fight in Ukraine. Some have been going to the borders to dodge the draft. So yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of Russians who went to like Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Georgians are not pleased about it.
Yes.
Yep. There was a gunman who killed the Russian military recruiter as opposition to Ukraine mobilization grows. So this is a guy who was drafted and he just shot the officer coming to recruit him. And it's like, he said, no one will go fight before opening fire in a Siberian city. Yep. And we will all go home now. Damn. Fucking wild, dude.
Oh, there's
God.
a video too.
Oh God, is this?
That is the yes.
Oh Jesus. Okay, maybe we shouldn't watch this on fucking YouTube.
Well, goodbye to Dev's channel.
Hold on. Here, I'm gonna take it away. They can't see it now. Okay, let's just. Jesus. Yep.
Имя, отчество?
Зинин Руслан Александрович.
Зинин?
Зинин, И.Н.
Руслан?
Александрович, 29.06.97 года рождения.
Проживаешь?
Проживаю улица Белградская, дом 8, квартира 92, город Устилим.
Работаешь где?
Yes,
well,
yeah.
I mean,
I
if
would
the punishment, if
recommend
the
you
punishment
edit that
for
out.
Sorry, what?
I would recommend you edit that out.
Yes, I will have to edit it out. I'll re-upload the video, okay? I'll re-upload the thing. Fuck.
But like, if the punishment for dodging a draft is worse than simply killing your officer, then well,
the punishment for not showing up to your unit, and it's a rolling punishment, which the highest one is if you don't show up for, I think it was 12 or 6 months, that punishment is 10 years in a colony, also known as gulag.
Yep.
So yes, shooting the recruitment officer is probably.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Criminal.
I'm not gonna play this video either. I'll take it down.
oh, the arm breaking.
Yep. So I watched this off stream. I've already fucked up the stream enough. I've watched this off stream. Not gonna play it. But basically, this is a guy who had his friend sledgehammer his arm to get out of being drafted. It's not a great video to watch, to be honest.
It is an unpleasant video.
Yeah.
But hey, it's also like, okay, do you want to go to war or the hospital?
Oh, and here's the thing about the Arch. You said that 6 months to train the new recruits, right? Apparently, it's 2 days. So just check this out.
Всем привет, на связи первый танковый полк. Нам официально сказали, то, что подготовки перед отправкой в зону боевых действий не
There
будет.
will not be any training.
Yep.
Официальные командиры полка подтвердили эту информацию. 29-го у нас отправка предстоит в Херсон. Поэтому думайте сами, решайте сами, что делать с этим в дальнейшем.
Никакой переподготовки от слова того, что ни стрельб, ни теоретической подготовки.
Ни
They're not
теории,
even teaching him how to
ничего.
shoot.
Nope.
Всем привет, на связи первый танк.
Yep. They're just they've been drafted and they're just being sent to Ukraine with no training.
Now there's a caveat here potentially. This looks like a slightly older gentleman.
Mhm.
There are 3 types of Russian soldier. The first is the conscript, which is just the 16-year-old kid drafted into the army. Then there is the reservists. The reservists are anyone who has previous military service. So anyone who's been into a conscripted period or anything, they're reservists. These are considered to be already trained. So that could be it, that this guy was in the army previously, he's been called up as a reservist, and so they're like, well, you have training, therefore go.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that doesn't hold up in reality because military skills, like all skills, are a perishable commodity.
Yep.
Mhm.
You can't just. Well, you were trained 5 years ago. You go pick up a gun.
Yeah. Oof.
You might be out of shape. You might have a gun hanging out. You might be old, but fuck you.
Of course, everyone's fleeing to Georgia, trying to get away from the draft, and Russia basically just opened up a draft center on the border. It's like, we're just going to catch you there, guys.
Yep.
Yep.
They were sending FSB and security forces to the Georgian border to make sure that people thought twice about their civic duty.
Yep.
I'm sure the Georgians are actually thankful.
Yeah. Damn. They're not real refugees though, because they're not brown. That's how
That's
it works.
true.
That's how it works, right?
But on the bright side, if you are a refugee, all you need to get Russian citizenship now is to volunteer to serve in the army.
True. Just send over all those refugees that are going to Europe. Just send them over to Russia.
I
That's
can't
the way.
imagine.
Sounds
anyone
like
turning
a
down that deal.
fantastic deal for the refugees.
But yeah, there's a number.
Abdul, I knew you come a long way. Now you can finally get Russian citizenship.
Now
So
here's a rusty AK. Go fuck yourself.
so there's a bunch of pictures that have come out and posted on Reddit of just the situation at the Georgian border. There are people who have like they just biked there with like stuff in a bag, and it's like, please just get me out of fucking Russia, and they're like, well, like Jesus Christ, and yeah, they just abandoned their bikes and got in line because they just want to get out of Russia.
Oh, somebody in the comments mentioned No Fuckers has a good video on Russians fighting their flight to Georgia, and yeah, No Fuckers is cool. He's like a really cool Russian dude.
No Fuckers is his name. No Fuckers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
NFKRZ,
Yeah.
or also known as Roman.
They got like a campfire going at the border. It's almost like they're having like a little picnic, Jesus.
Even if you're fleeing the draft, you gotta eat.
Yeah. We'll read the super chats at the end of the stream, okay, guys? Oh yeah, that's right. So Dylan Burns, he was like formerly almost a bread tuber, like not a full open socialist, but he was pretty far left, and he was doing like the Twitch debate thing that a lot of people were doing like a year or two ago. But he said, "Fuck that! I want to actually be a real war reporter. So he went to Ukraine, and he's been streaming. He's been streaming from Ukraine since then.
Right. He's on the ground in Kiev. And
Yep. And I mean,
he's like interviewing people.
Yeah.
Like
good for him. Like
covering the war.
You could just keep, debating bread tubers or conservatives or whatever over like trans kids in the U.S., or you could actually go and be like a real reporter. So, hats off to him, right?
Good for him. I have lots of respect for Dylan Burns.
Yeah, but he interviewed a former Soviet soldier. Let's see what he has to say.
The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan didn't really go well for the Soviet Union. Does he view this kind of in that same manner, as if this is Russia's second Afghanistan in a way, the second failure?
Афганистан похоронил Советский Союз. Эта война похоронит однозначно путинский режим, и Россию в том виде, в котором она существовала, это все будет похоронено благодаря этой войне. России такой, как она была, не будет.
How does he think Russia will change after this war?
Путинский режим, я надеюсь, что все члены этого преступного режима будут развешаны на фонарных столбах, либо поедут все дружно в Гаагу, другого выхода у тех, кто придет после них, не будет. И Россия развалится однозначно, потому что Москва всю жизнь грабит регионы, в которых есть все, оттуда высасывается, регионы об этом знают, регионы на эту тему очень давно уже очень этим недовольны. И вот сейчас, как только в результате поражения ослабнет этот режим, я думаю, начнется парад суверенитетов.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Strong words. They should.
Well, Dylan, I actually hope. Even though I don't fully agree with Dylan politically, he's done a lot of good work since going on his journalist arc, and I would actually recommend people go check out some of
He's done good work before that, though. He's argued with he's done debates with like those tanky types, like the patriotic socialists who are like just basically slobbing for Russia and China.
Yeah.
He's debated
here's
like
the thing,
Haas on Taiwan.
Yeah, but Haas is just a joke, though. Haas is just like a fucking mouth-breathing retard. He doesn't count. Well, no. Here's the thing.
Well, he's also debated a bunch of other retards, but hey.
Dylan, he's now in Ukraine making a documentary, and I have nothing but respect for him for actually getting out there and doing something. So I do recommend you guys go check him out. What was this?
Dylan Burns is cool. Ugh, Glenn Greenwald.
Yeah, so this is from much earlier, right? And this is when you had people. These are more left-leaning people on Twitter who are like, I understand that this violates the Geneva Conventions, but, and this is when this is when Ukraine was showing off prisoners of war of Russia, and the Russian POWs were saying how terrible is this, and everyone was saying, hey, wait, doesn't this violate the Geneva Conventions? And then you had people on the left saying, it's fine because it actually serves our side. And man, listen to this. Why worry about the fine print? There is a war and has to stop by all means. Stop stirring fire like this. The world needs to unite. No, this is stupid. We can say, hey, you probably shouldn't have violated the Geneva Conventions. That's a pretty big deal. But also, it does seem to be the case.
Geneva Conventions kind of bad.
It does seem to be the case that the information that these Russian soldiers gave, 5 months ago, turned out being largely accurate about how the war was going from their side. Because it seems like it was a shit show,
And obviously, the Russian side will never show this.
Yeah.
Or this sort of.
Oh. And I guess one final cherry on top of the cake. Russia is sending its ethnic minorities to the meat grinder.
This is another article I linked was most of the people that's been mobilized are Russian ethnic minorities.
Yes.
The people living in Moscow are still to this day largely unaffected. They just view the war from home and hear, oh, look at our heroes liberating and denazifying the horrible Ukrainians, and they don't have to see their children and their brothers get sent off to war, but meanwhile there's like all these like Russian towns and cities
In
that just,
Siberia and stuff, yeah.
yes, in Siberia, they just get like they just see scores of their men just get where are they? They're just gone. They all get sent off to fight in this really fucking stupid war.
Yeah. Yep. And actually, it kind of reminds you of something that I recall happening in post World War II. You know, I had read up on like a World War II history, like a World War II history at some point, and when the USSR rolled in to East Germany, and did basically the mass rape of Berlin at the end of the war. It's gonna sound kind of ridiculous, but a lot of the women who were raped described the Russian soldiers as overwhelmingly not being white, but looking more like Mongolians, because they had been taken from like Eastern Russia. And some leftists, some leftists turned around and said that the only reason that the Germans complained about being raped by Mongolian Russians is because they were white supremacists.
I mean, theoretically correct in that the Germans were white supremacists, but I don't know if it was the only complaint.
Jesus
I'm pretty sure
guys.
the rape is a lot worse than the fact that they're not white.
It factors in, I'm certain.
Yeah. Fuck. All right. So, what was the next component? Oh yeah, so there's currently a talk about this being a genocide and how it might meet some of the criteria. And the main reason is because we've got this report came out from the Moscow Times about a bunch of children being taken from Ukraine to Russia, and how they initially showed negative attitudes towards Russia, but now they don't want to return home. And how the forced relocations of Ukrainian children from Ukrainian areas is a war crime. And how it might meet one of the definitions of genocide, because forcibly removing children from their parents and then giving them to a different ethnicity and then raising them as that ethnicity is one of the UN's definitions of genocide. Are we at the point, do you guys think, that we could call the Russians, say the Russians are genociding Ukrainians yet? Or is that too politically charged a statement yet?
Nah, they're genociding Ukrainians.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
There's only been a couple minor mass graves discovered so far.
Yeah, that's true. There have been some Ukrainian mass graves. They found that too. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys. Fucking hell.
Yep. It happened in Bucha, and they're finding mass graves in like the areas that the Ukrainians have liberated from the Russians.
Yeah. Fuck.
Of course, the Russian shills are just gonna be like, "Oh, Ukrainians shot their own citizens and just to make Russia look bad."
You know what's kind of crazy? You have some people who are like on, let's say, the dissident right, who really support Russia in this, and they're saying, guys, Russia and Ukraine, they're the same people anyway. This is just a civil war in the end. They don't really have a distinct culture. Their language is an offshoot of the Russian language. They have this history. Like this is just a civil war, and the West should stay out of it. Okay, but these same people, you wind them back 100 years, and they're very adamant. They're very adamant about the Russians genociding the Ukrainians in the Holodomor. And it's like, well, either they're two different groups, and one's genociding the other, and they're legitimately a conflict between two different ethnicities, or it's a civil war conflict. Like, which one is it? Like, come on, guys. There's an obvious double standard in how some people view these two events. You know what I mean?
Yep. As for the how the kidnapping of children constitutes as genocide, it's literally the definition of it.
It's one of the definitions, yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's
you could argue that
on the Prevention and Punishment if you can bring it up.
I think I have it here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Genocide Convention, and there's where's the 5 here? Where is it? All right, I'll just control F5. The 5 acts are killing members of the group, causing them serious bodily or mental harm, imposing living conditions intended to destroy the group, preventing births, and forcibly transferring children out of the group. So here's the 5. Now, like, you could argue that this definition might be too broad, because, like, if I murder my roommate, he's English and German. It's like, am I committing a genocide against English and Germans? It's like, well, no.
Is Children's Services committing genocide every time they take a child from abusing parents?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I think this might be too broad, but even if it's too broad, I think you could probably make... You could definitely make a very solid argument, at the very least, that Russia is committing war crimes in Ukraine. Absolutely. I think I can. I don't know about genocide, might be too strong a word, but war crimes, abso-fucking-lutely. And if there were any justice in the world, they would definitely pay for it. Maybe they will in the future. Who knows?
The issue with the term war crime is that it means nothing. A war crime is a term imposed upon the loser. So if Russia wins, there were no war crimes.
That's also true, yes. In the end, that
if
is
Russia
true.
loses, there were a lot of war crimes.
There were a lot of war crimes, right.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but the footage of, like, white phosphor bombs raining down, like, white phosphor is frowned upon in European warfare.
Yes.
Yeah, that's that one. We do bad things too.
Yes, yeah. Hold on. The Thug Life. A fucking Wikipedia article as a source. This is cringe. Dude, I understand the point of not liking Wikipedia. It's actually a pretty fair point, but this is the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. It's an international treaty. This is a description of the international treaty. Now you can say, are you saying that this article is not accurate to what the treaty says? I'm pretty sure it is. Are you saying that this treaty is bullshit and you don't want to live by it? Okay, fair enough. That's a different conversation, though. LOL Wikipedia itself isn't an argument. You have to be a brainlet to fucking think that.
Genocide doesn't necessarily have to be like mass murder, like Holocaust.
I think it might have to be, actually. I think you might need a bunch of deaths. I don't think you can just, like, I think you need a bunch of deaths for it to be.
But do you not think what the China is doing to the Uyghurs is genocide?
I'm pretty sure that there's mass death involved in that.
Plus concentration camps and shit.
Yeah, there's at least concentration camps too, right? Like, Lilith, you and I, we disagree very heavily on the whole trans genocide conversation, and this might be part of that, right? Where you think there is one, I don't think there is, but that's because
I think this is leading to one. Like,
you think it's leading to one? I don't think so, to be honest. I don't think so. Hold on.
Like, if people talking about eliminating, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. I mean, I think until they start going after adults and, like, making transitioning illegal, that's not going to be... I think it's not one.
They're trying to, but hey.
Let's see. Yeah, I think you need, like... I think for it to be a genocide, you need like, a state apparatus that is actually going... Not just saying that they want to, but actually going after, like, a group of people. They have camps set up. They're killing them. They're starving them, maybe. Like... But yeah, I can see both sides on this one for whether or not what Russia's doing in Ukraine is a genocide, but it's definitely, in my opinion, a war crime. What do I have here? Oh yeah, this dude, he's a fighter in the Russian Vostok battalion, and he just said. It's in Russian, and there's no subtitles, but he said, "We'll defeat everyone, kill everyone, rob everyone that needs to be robbed. Everything will be the way that we love." It's like, well, all right. I guess it's probably moral to fight you in return, right? Isn't it? I think so, if that's your attitude. What was this one? Okay. Oh yeah, are we at like the Twitter stupidity part? Because I know that you grabbed a lot of this, Lilith. Where, like, you got some, like, idiot leftist.
Right,
Yeah. some fucking moron leftist who was like, he's wrong. He called Stalin's regime totalitarian. Jesus, I thought he was smarter than this.
And
It's
that's
like,
the straw
Jesus.
for making her dislike Putin.
Yeah. What the fuck? What
How
the
dare
fuck?
he? She had no problem with anything else he's done or said, but
Yeah. Fucking brainlets, dude. Yeah, this guy.
calling Stalin totalitarian? Ooh, no.
This guy, on September 30th, he says the scale of Ukraine's defeat at Lyman will become clear in the coming days. Unclear at this point how much they lost, but it's substantial. And now that Ukraine's liberated the city, oh shit, he locked his account. It's always funny when people you just don't have to say the most dumb, false, ridiculous bullshit on Twitter. You just don't have to. No one's holding the gun to your head to be like this much of a retard. You can just not, you know?
Yep.
What was this? Wait, why do I have this open?
This isn't just some random pig
Voicing your idiotic opinions. This is how there's.
A bit
Oh,
cruel.
right. Okay, so hold on, I'll play this. I think I know what this is. Okay.
And I think DOJ, in the same way that it is setting up a task force to investigate oligarchs, should look into people who are Russian propagandists and shilling for Putin. That's being, if you are a foreign asset to a dictator, it should be investigated. Yeah.
Right. So I also want to point out just how fucking ridiculous the other side was, especially earlier in the war, where they're like, oh, you have people who aren't like 100% pro-Ukrainian. They're not completely parroting our specific view at all times. Well, they have to be Putin assets. Like that was insane, I think. You know? Yeah, I am no fan of the people who are Putin simps, but like random private citizens have the right to be Putin simps, even if you be retarded to do so. You know what I mean? I think the whole let's hunt down people in the West who are critical of the West or who are like pro-Russia in this, that went too far, in my opinion.
Sounds like business as usual to me these days.
Yes, but I don't have to like it. I don't have to support it. Like this was ridiculous, just as the other side was also ridiculous. It seems like everyone's a retard nowadays. Oh yeah, and then there was this, yeah, on YouTube Kids, a YouTube Kids channel. They've got cartoons of Ukrainian, Polish, and British tanks defeating Russian tanks. It's like I don't know about this, guys. Maybe you shouldn't put this into a kids channel. You know what I mean? Help the army of Ukraine with a donation of money. 5-year-old watching this. This is, I don't know, man. I don't like this. I remember watching cartoons growing up on TV, and they didn't have like war propaganda in them in the same way. Maybe they had like old World War II stuff, but it was the 90s, so it's like, yeah, whatever, who cares? It's 50 years later. But like this is a bit much in my opinion. Like this is insane. Now, none of this, by the way, excuses anything that Russia's done or any of Putin's ambitions. But I think it's safe to say that our side has also overreached in a non-violent way, but still overreached in some of the rhetoric and some of the stupidity that they've put forward.
I mean, we have engaged in the propaganda war on the same level as Russia by banning all Russian news media.
Yep. I still don't necessarily like that. It's one of those things where it's like, you have to do something, you know, like you know how you see like McDonald's pulling out of Russia and stuff like that. You know, you have to do something. On the one hand,
the thing is, that was just retarded, because then Russian oligarchs just bought everything and started them right up again. And all you've done now is transfer billions into the pockets of some Russian.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Yeah.
But then again, those same burger joints have been like scandals of them selling like moldy burgers that are just like
Oh yeah, I
they've
saw
had
that.
like
Yeah.
burgers that were just lying outside and birds were eating them, and meat were just rotting and moldy. And it's just like, okay,
Tastes like
good job.
McDonald's.
Sounds
I
like
mean,
Russia to
it's
me. Yeah. Someone in the chat said, "What do you think about the Ukraine-Russia peace deal that nearly happened in April? The story is that Boris Johnson scuttled it." We went over that. It wasn't Boris Johnson. It was Putin. Putin scuttled it, man.
yeah, there wasn't a peace deal. It was a go cuck yourself for us, or we're just gonna keep invading.
Yep. Yeah. But no, like there's like, okay, so when like liberal nations put up blockades or sanctions against nations like Russia for doing this sort of stuff, you hear a lot of dissidents in the West who are like, "We thought you guys were liberals. What about the free trade capitalism thing? Guess you guys weren't liberals after all." And it's like, on some level,
The free trade goes out the door when a war is initiated.
yeah, like fuck, guys,
It's like
you
should we
can't-
have just kept buying shit from Germany from Nazi Germany as they were doing all the awful shit they were doing? And it's like, oh, but
Well,
free trade, go fuck yourself.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. America actually did keep buying
America
stuff from
did,
Nazi
some of them
Germany,
did.
and
Yes,
that's
it was like
no good. That's no good.
it was bad when they did it.
And
too.
you know what? This is an improvement. The fact that, and you know what? Maybe considering how bad China behaves, maybe the West should stop trading with China as well. I don't know. Like that might cause more problems than it solves, but I don't necessarily know. I have to look into that more. But the point
If
is,
anything, this teaches us, though, is that we should be more reliant on our allies and less on our potential rivals and enemies.
yes, there was a neoconservative point of view from the 90s that if you liberalize an authoritarian nation's economy, then that will lead to the liberalization of their politics, and that's basically been proven wrong at this point. Someone in the chat actually said what I was trying to say pretty well. Liberalism shouldn't be forced to commit suicide to remain consistent. Yeah, like pushing the values to the limit, to the point that you either have to violate them to stay alive. That's a pretty bad situation. But like the fact that the West has decided not to do any more business with Russia as retaliation for what it's done does not mean that like liberalism is over, It does not mean that in a hypothetical future where Russia is not a corrupt fucking shithole that we would keep not doing business with them. I think
But
it's
they would
reasonable.
have to make some drastic changes.
Well, sure, but in general, that as a general rule of thumb, I think it's completely reasonable for liberals, capital L liberals. We're talking like not leftists or the Democrats or whatever, but like liberalism as a political philosophy, as a mode of government. I think it's completely reasonable for liberal countries to stick together and to not financially deal with other shithole authoritarian countries. I think that's fine. We should do it more than we do. My ultimate complaint is that all of the embargoes that are currently hitting Russia right now, we should have been doing that a long time ago, and we should have been doing that to a lot of other nations who deserve it.
Remember when, like, a bunch of politicians were making fun of Trump when he said, "You guys should stop relying so much on Russian oil."
The Russian oil, it was like 2018, right? And Trump's
Yes.
like, you guys got to get off the Russian oil. And they're all like laughing at him. Look
And
at
there
him
was,
now.
like, news
Look at him now.
articles going, "Look at these German officials owning Trump by laughing at his laughable suggestions that they should stop relying so much on Russian oil." I was like,
Hold on. So some of the chat, liberal principles go out the window when thing I don't like. I thought Dev was against the betraying principles in order to win. Oh God, dude. There's a different, like, here, I will keep trading with my enemy. My enemy is going to, I will trade stuff to my enemy, and then in the boxes of stuff that he trades with me in return, there's a bomb. And I should just take that because I'm a liberal. Like, what the fuck? I cannot believe how dumb some people are here. I'm stunned every day when I go on the internet. Jesus.
The brainless man. But hey.
Hold on, let me get some water.
Sippy sip the water.
Archer, you still there?
Yes.
Are you just listening to the nonsense?
I haven't heard anything that needs correcting yet.
Okay, fair enough. What else did I have here? Oh, that's right. All the memes, the tampon soldiers. That's right. I think we've gone through everything. Yes, I think we have. Yeah. I think that is all the stuff that we have for today.
Super chat.
I think so. Well, actually, you know, before we do super chats, how about final words on the topic? What do you all think is going to happen in the next little bit regarding Russia and Ukraine?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, it really just depends on how much support the West gives to Ukraine and provides for Ukraine, and as well as just how corrupt and incompetent the Russian military continues to be.
Yeah. I think that Ukrainian gains will probably slow over the next month or two. And I think that's because as the Russians pull back, they're probably going to become more focused and more organized as they do so. And maybe, you know, liberating the last bit of the country will be like a far more Herculean task than the stuff that they've done so far, which has already been pretty tough, you know?
We have to remember that, like, all the deaths so far are they're gonna compound up to the point where one side is just not gonna be able to keep it up anymore. Like, we're already seeing like Russians bring like really old tanks and just bring like ancient Soviet or pre-Soviet shit
Yeah.
and just retrofitting them into making them quote unquote modern and just sending them out.
Yeah. I mean, maybe,
And
right? Maybe. I know.
Meanwhile, on the Ukrainian side, we like how many more soldiers can there be? Like,
Yeah, I mean, they have a much smaller population base to draw from. Yeah, I know. Aiden just said in the chat, 80 billion in total just from the U.S. alone so far. Here's the thing, I don't see that as a problem, frankly. I think other liberal nations are worth sticking up for. If that means military aid during a war, fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay when Canada did it as well. That was you know, there are some things the Canadian government has gotten horribly wrong recently, but I think that probably sending money to Ukraine was fine. Now Ukraine is still a corrupt shithole.
We're not really just sending money. We're sending like
arms, yeah,
old military equipment that are just rotting in storage that needs to be replaced anyways.
Yeah. Hold on,
like the HIMARS systems that we're sending that are just paying themselves like several fold with how much destruction and trouble they've been giving to the Russians.
Yeah.
That alone is just like what are we doing with the HIMARS? Just sticking them in our storage at home? Like the fuck is that gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
At least if they're on the front lines of Ukraine, they could be used for some good, you know.
Hold on. Thug Life says people like Dev act like they're libertarians. I'm not a libertarian. And then they want the state, to control bodily autonomy. I mean, no, not really. And support do you mean corporate welfare? I mean, that, God. It's
Dev.
Listen, I know. You can say 80 wrong things.
Only read the shitty troll comments if they're paying us.
Here's the thing. You can like say so much wrong in such a short sentence. And it takes like 15 minutes to unpack exactly why it's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. But anyway, no. I have no problem with financially supporting Ukraine and their war efforts, frankly. Doesn't bother me in the slightest.
It is a small price to pay for having Russia bleed to death.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay,
The war will
guys.
probably slow down. It'll drag out for quite a while. There'll be
Yeah.
a really harsh winter. Many Germans will freeze to death. This is fine.
Yeah, here. So, Arch, you didn't really give your view on what's going to happen next. What do you think?
The war is going to slow down. Like, I don't think Ukraine has the military capabilities to finish this quickly, and I certainly don't think Russia does. So we're going to enter into winter. And honestly, well, here's the thing. We've had soft times for a very long time now, and that has led to a lot of issues. I think maybe a good, long, hard winter will convince a lot of people to start giving a shit about actual problems again. If nothing else, environmentalist parties will be exterminated completely.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yep. It would teach people to not rely on our potential rivals and enemies.
Okay,
At least, like, with, like, the Nordstrom, even without it being, like, sabotaged, like, they were already shut down. So, Germans and other European countries have been, like, realizing just how stupid they were by shutting down their nuclear power plants and capabilities, and they're thankfully starting to shift course on that, and they're starting, and hopefully it'll do more. Hopefully it'll be enough.
Hopefully.
Plus, this will give Norway another $1,000 billion in revenue over the course of the next year. Good.
Let's read some supers. Let's go. What do we got here? $5 from Jasso Havens. I missed last week's sip. Did you talk about the migrants getting shipped to Martha's Vineyard? While it was underhanded, I do think it's pretty funny.
That was funny.
It was both. It was like both funny and kind of cruel in a way, because I saw like they told some of the migrants they were going to like another place for jobs and stuff, and they just dropped them there. It's like, well, that's kind of cruel, you know. But at the same time, you do need to show a lot of these ivory tower left-leaning people, like, because they keep saying, yes, of course, bring in more immigrants, help them, help out the poor and educated brown people, and then they bring them in, but they're like, but don't put them near me, and it's like, well, you know, there's
the only
such
reason
hypocrisy
the migrants were like busted away is because there were no like they had to be taken care of, and like they just didn't have the capability, and they also had to like give them actual paperwork and shit.
Yeah, I will probably
and they just didn't have the facilities in Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah. Well, also because Martha's Vineyard is like the most expensive and left-leaning areas of the country, and it's like, well, maybe you guys should experience having a ghetto in your own town for once, you know.
Like,
I think it's really fucked up them telling them like all these false pretenses, like they were going to ship them to Boston, and
yeah, I agree with that.
They were going to get citizenship. Yeah. They were going to get like they were going to get paperwork. They were going to get jobs. They were just lied to. Like that's fucked up.
I think it's mean to use people like this, but I also just look at it like, okay, but these were invited there in the first place by the people living in Martha's Vineyard, practically.
Yes.
The people are just like, oh, come here, come here, come here. Okay, go live over there. It's not as like we don't have the services. Like, this is per capita one of the richest, like, per square meters areas on fucking Earth. I'm sure you can think of something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there were people like there was like overflowing of volunteers. Like they had to turn people away because there was just too much people trying to help these people when that first came. It's just, I don't think it's like it's fair to say they're not trying to help them.
Yeah, I think so too. It is cruel that they were used as a political pawn, but at the same time, like the people who just endlessly vote to bring in more immigrants, but not even to like have a plan to have anything like to know what to do with them, just to virtue signal about having them come and then have nothing for them. You know, those people, I think they kind of needed to be shown like what they're actually doing in real life. You know,
like that fucking woman who's like, we have a housing crisis here. We can't even house all of the people who live here already. And then you look at the houses,
and they're like fucking huge. Vineyard. Yeah,
they're
Jesus.
fucking mansions. It's like, oh my, a housing crisis. I see.
Yeah, man. $2 from Der Lammergear. Bring back Prussian pride. Prussian pride? Why Prussian?
Because
Do I need to
Prussia
tell
is
you who the
based.
Prussians were?
Oh, were they the Germans? I think they were.
They
Yeah,
were the German
you know.
Germans. They were the Germans that introduced the concept of Germany to the Germans.
Okay, all right. Oh god. Aaron
They're spiky helmet dudes.
Yeah, that's right. Those guys. Yeah. Aaron for $5. Honestly, I would rather have Germany be less cucked, rather have strong allies than weak ones, and their reliance on Russian gas was foolish.
Based, agreed.
Extreme.
Absolutely.
It was short-sightedness because the literally, I did a video on this. The reason why they did this was because it was short-term political gains. It allowed them to be like, "Oh, look how nice we are. We're so environmental. Praise us," and not giving a fuck about what was going to happen 5 years down the line.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a score cheap wins. It's just like, these environmentalists are saying, these stupid environmentalists are saying nuclear is evil and bad. So
it's not just
even
that.
though it's one of most renewable and cleanest sources of energy we have, let's shut it down. Is just like and score a bunch of virtue signal points. And
it's partially that.
No.
It's partially that, but there's more to it, though. I think what it also is that Europe got so used to peace and to stability that they thought that if Germany was buying oil from Russia, well, they're never going to. Russians, no matter what happens, Russians aren't going to stop selling it to us because they need our money. And it's like, well, it turns out the Russians are just fine with trying to do without. They'll say, "Ah, fuck you," and they'll just turn it off. And if it hurts them, that hurts them. They don't care. They forgot that not everyone had gone soft, basically.
I actually like that way of putting it a lot. Like, gone soft. Because we talked about that in the military sense previously as well. Like, we became reliant upon the US. And yes, it's because we became soft. Like, the standard of living in Europe is beyond most European countries' capabilities to actually support. Like, we've seen this in Greece. We've seen this in Italy. We've seen this in France. We were starting to see this in England and Germany. The nations are simply living beyond their means, and now that people go like, "Oh, hey, hold on, this is actually really dangerous. Why can we do this? Well, because our gas costs nothing because we're buying it from our enemies." And then when the gas goes away, suddenly we're sitting there like, "Oh my Jesus, everything is now expensive again."
Yep.
There's also that and the fact that they over rely on the Americans to provide them security for military support.
Yep.
It's like, America will bail us out. It's just like we don't have to spend 2% GDP on our military.
We can
spend
spend it
less
on healthcare and social services instead, and make our people even softer.
Yeah, there's like always like leftists saying like, why can't we just be like Europe and they're spending all this money on their social programs and the people are happy. And it's just like, well, it's because they don't have to spend their money on the military.
Yeah,
exactly. We don't have we Americans don't have America 2 that will bail us out if something happens to us. We have a geographic advantage from being far away from our enemies, but we don't have the big brother that'll save us.
Yeah.
We have
Canada will do it. That's what'll happen. I can't wait for a highly militarized Canada to come around. It's gonna be awesome.
Yes.
We'll just
Maybe
say
Canada
sorry
should
as
uncuck themselves too.
we'll say sorry as we conquer everyone. Der
Apologies.
Lammergear for $10. I highly recommend taking a look at the 2 Chechen wars. The Russians did the same thing, roll tanks into the capital without support, and then it went the same way, then gassed the countryside in round 2. Jesus.
The Chechen wars were amusing.
Yeah, it sounds fucking wild.
Two exceedingly savage nations beating each other to death, one of which was Muslim, which is added to the carnage.
Yeah. Artemis Fowl for $5. I have been beating Arch and predicting the stupid strategies of Russian high command. Maybe he's also maybe he's jumping the gun on you when it comes to putting out what the Russians are going to do next.
Slutimus was also convinced that China would invade Taiwan a little while ago.
Which didn't happen.
Slutimus tends to take the most retarded idea imaginable and then hope that everyone else is as stupid as he is. And tragically, he is correct in this often.
Well, he's a nice guy. I wouldn't call him stupid. He's a nice. I disagree with him a lot, but he's a nice guy.
Dead.
I know he came on my stream last week to argue with Econoboy over economics, and that seemed to be like a shit show.
Good. Slutimus must be put in his place occasionally. He gets very full of himself.
Tanushi for €5. Russia so strong it not need any victory to win. All right. Randy Butter for $5. Watch Laserpig's video. It's pretty good. I think you were talking about that earlier, eh, Lilith?
Yes, he also put out a new one discussing if there's like if Russia's sending T-34s into Ukraine. I haven't watched that one yet, so is Russia sending T-34s in Ukraine?
I haven't seen any evidence of it.
I don't know.
We'll have to watch a video, I guess.
Tanushi for €5. The Muscovite Empire has pulled the aiding a neighbor angle for over a century. The Bolsheviks created the Workers' Commune, the Workers' Commune of Estonia, for example. Yeah. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be anything anything approaching what the left calls like the post-nation kind of era. Hold on. Let me organize my thoughts on this. A lot of leftists, even the ones who aren't tankies, they still sometimes simp for the Soviet Union because they at least tried to bring about the socialist revolution. But the issue is
T-34 answers. The T-34 seems a bit far-fetched.
The issue is
But
ultimately
they're sending like old shit.
Is that the Soviet Union could never actually be, or it could never actually transition into that stateless, moneyless, classless communism. Just because it's always going to inherit the geopolitics of the previous empire that it overthrew, and that just seems to be the case everywhere. Like one of the big reasons you'll never ever have real communism is because the Russians are always going to be Russians, and the Chinese are always going to be Chinese, and the Americans are always going to be American. You can't have a world without a national identity. I don't think, especially if you inherit the state structures of a previous society, and yet you still have all the geopolitical concerns. Like, I don't know. I just, when it comes to this sort of conversation, the right is infinitely more correct than the left is. Mark Grayson, $5. Do you think the U.S. is using the Ukraine war as a proxy war against Russia? I mean, maybe. It kind of
evidently.
Yeah. Like, they're not going to say it, but yeah.
it's a social faux pas to say it, yes, but
now this isn't like a China using. Well, hold on, it might be, because I know China used Vietnam as a proxy war against America, and Americans did get involved on boots on the ground in Vietnam, in the same way that Russia has boots on the ground in Ukraine. It's not like it's a proxy war in that two smaller nations fight on behalf of their larger masters. It's not like that, but it's still a proxy war, I think.
The same way that the US waged a proxy war against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan, the same way that the Soviet Union waged a proxy war against the US in Vietnam, plus China.
Yep.
Yes, no, it's a proxy war.
Korea.
Yep.
In Korea, yes.
Yep. It was never like the great powers directly fighting each other. That didn't happen. But they always they were funding somebody or they were helping someone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what big powers do, though.
Yep.
Why fight on the ground and risk nuclear war when you can, just simply provide equipments and aid shit that you weren't using anyways, and just
a lot
let them
cheaper.
do it.
Yep.
And a lot more popular.
Yep. A Viking Kiwi for 50 kroner. Arch, how do you feel about Finland and Sweden joining NATO? I know that Crowder was against it. Crowder's kind of an idiot, though, at this point. I've lost a lot of respect for him ever since Trump derangement syndrome fully took hold. No, Trump derangement syndrome fully took hold in Crowder.
Finland and Sweden will never join NATO at this pace. Turkey keeps blocking it because Sweden cucks. Sweden has been asked to basically hand over a bunch of immigrants to Turkey for torture and probable execution. And Sweden has a bit of scruples left. Tragic.
Man, at this point, I'm actually like...
You have to put Turkey in their place.
Yeah, like, what the fuck, Turkey? Like, Turkey's been getting worse and worse. I don't think they should have, like, a place in NATO at this point. They're kind of going nuts.
I mean, they're necessary for the Mediterranean Sea, but...
Maybe, but they were there first, so... Yeah.
Yeah, they were there first. Back when it wasn't the shit show that it is now.
Plus, Sweden and Finland are both fucking liabilities. Unironically, the only reason why we're letting them in is because they are European old school countries. Like,
Yeah.
if this was any like Middle Eastern country or any equivalent of that, we'd just like, no. But because it's Sweden and Finland, they're kind of part of the club, and Sweden does have a potential for a military at least.
Is Turkey no longer a liberal democracy, Dev? No, it's moving away from that. So yeah, they should not be part of the based liberal democracy club.
Turkey has not been a liberal democracy for
very long time.
Quite a while at this point.
Basically since Ataturk, right? I think so. Someone asked, are we talking about Kraut or Crowder? We're talking about Crowder. We're talking about Crowder. Steven Crowder is the guy we're talking about, not Kraut.
Kraut's still cool.
Yeah, he's all right. I talk to him a fair bit now. He's a nice fellow. He's moderated a lot of his more craziness from, let's say, a few years ago.
From before, yeah.
Let's see here. 5 New Zealand dollars. Okay. I can't read that. It's a foreign language.
Google Translate.
Okay.
He paid you $5, Dev. You could do Google
Okay,
Translate.
I'm gonna translate. I'm gonna translate it. It is Spanish. The one with the sharpest fangs wins.
That's very cringe.
Tonushi for €5. You guys might want to listen to some Finnish wartime songs. Based songs, each and every one of them. I don't know anything about that, but maybe.
Finns are pretty cool.
Artemis Fowl, $5. Remember, Ukraine captured a lieutenant general and lieutenant colonel of the command staff in charge of defending Izium.
Has that been confirmed? Because I've seen the lieutenant colonel, but I think that didn't get confirmed.
Brother Doom, $5 with no comment, so thanks for the $5, man.
Thank you for the $5.
Artemis Fowl, $10. Russia tried airdropping 2 full battalions into Kiev at night a couple weeks after the airport. The planes were all shot down easily because they didn't turn off their transponders. Is that true? Like, that's pretty fucking incompetent, isn't it?
I don't think all of them got shot down, but yes, they did try to just straight land VDV to the airport in the Illusion 76s, and I know at least one of them got shot down.
I think they tried to land with like helicopters too.
That was on day one, yes, and that was a successful assault. They seized the airport initially, and then they were chased off.
Oh, that's right. So someone in the chat says, if Turkey's kicked out of NATO, then there is an inevitable war between Turkey and Greece. Here's they're both
fair. That'd be funny.
Like, they're both in NATO, Turkey and Greece, and yet they're also both gearing up for war anyway. So what the fuck, guys?
All right, there was like the whole conflict over Cyprus, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's like the beginning of it, but like there's new stuff now.
The inevitable Greco-Turkish war will just be a thing, and the rest of us will just watch. Like, I guarantee it. Like,
yeah, I don't think any of us will actually care. We'll just be like, well, that's going on.
Yep, it'll be fantastic. No matter which side wins, everybody else wins.
Because nobody cares.
Mr. Personality, $2. Watch the movie The Whale. I don't know what that is, but okay, I'll look into it. Devil of War, €10. Kidnapping kids was also done by Ustasa to the Serbians and non-Ustasa children. It's why people say that Ustasa had a concentration camp for kids. It was genocide then, and as a Croatian, I'd say it hasn't changed.
Thank you. Kidnapping kids is genocide.
Yes.
And the Russians are doing that by the thousands.
It just turns out the entire Russian army is actually just like child protective services. And they're all abusive parents, Lilith. That's all it is. They're all abusive parents.
They're good to Nazify the parents. The Ukrainian parents by forcibly kidnapping them and taking them to Russia.
10 more kroner from, was it Plebugen? I love how Dev is lost whenever Arch talks about tanks. I am lost. I just don't know much about him. But I enjoy listening to him.
What's so sad about Shell?
Holtzner, $2. Holtzner, $2. I just joined. What did I miss? You missed the entire fucking thing.
Yep, unfortunately. You can rewatch it though.
Resta Zero for $2. Doesn't matter your politics. Oh god, after that shooting video, fuck no, it's not.
Fuck that. Just mute it or censor it, I guess.
Resta Zero, $2. Doesn't matter your politics. Trucker video when? I'll do the trucker video on the 1 year anniversary.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. It's back.
Okay.
I was like, oh god, did we actually get nuked for that fucking video? Oh my god. Nope. Everything with the channel's fine.
For the moment.
All right.
For the moment. All right. No, we're back. We're back. Hold on. I'll just tell him. We're back. Refresh. Okay. So. Hold on here. Hold on just a second. Okay. $20 from Investigator Wimquin. Thank you. Hey, Dev. I figured out why the Discord bot didn't automatically place me in the $5 club. I didn't link my YouTube and Discord account together. So sorry about wasting your time. That's good to hear, man. Good to hear that you figured it out. And I will watch the video that you linked. Yes. Big Chungus Gamer for £2. Do you condemn the annexation of the Golan Heights? What is that?
It's in Israel.
Is it?
It is now.
Oh.
I haven't been following the Palestine Israel thing, and frankly, I just don't care. There's been so much wrong shit done by both sides. I'm just like, you guys fucking figure it out. I don't give a fuck anymore. Magnus, 50 kroner. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I went for a swim in the Baltic Sea and farted too bigly. That's actually what happened to the pipeline. Okay. Artemis Fowl, $5. The governor showed that all the migrants that were dumped in Martha's Vineyard had signed consent forms to do so. Yeah, but like, I guarantee some of those consent forms, like, just sign here. And the guy's like, what? I can't read this. You know?
Yeah, do you read every form you've ever signed in the past?
How many of those,
Especially if,
you're like installing a program, and the program is like, hey, here's the terms of service. You just scroll through it, and in there, I guarantee you've already like sold your soul and prostituted yourself several times because people just jam that shit in there.
And also, is the forms in English or Spanish? Because like, there's been like news about lots of these migrants. They're not English speakers, so it's like, here, sign this form in a language you don't know.
Yeah,
it's not legally binding for anywhere.
Insane Hippie, $5. Martha's Vineyard has the facilities. They just didn't want them in their vacation homes and rental properties. Yeah, so there's like a lot of second homes there that are kind of empty.
They have the facilities, but they didn't have like the processing, like the paperwork shit that they had to do.
$5 Artemis Fowl. The Russian TYGR armored transport is a useless dodo in a land full of hunters.
No, the tiger's adorable.
Okay. Salvador Aldaz, $2. Have you seen the Durin coverage of Ukraine? What's the Durin coverage? You mean Dylan? Like Dylan Burns? We talked about him, but like you didn't spell it like Dylan.
How do you spell it? D-U-R-A-N?
Yeah, D-U-R-A-N, yeah. I don't know what you mean by that, man. Sorry. And one final. Is that 30 shekels just came in at the end? Thank you. What do you think are the odds that Russian nuclear weapons are not functional? That'd be funny. Like, all their other shit doesn't work, and they're like, fuck it, launch the nukes, and the launch, like, doesn't even get off the ground.
What if they were just, like, sabotaged? Not sabotaged, they were just, like cannibalized for parts because of just how corrupt they are.
Fuck.
And they blow up in silos, if they blow up at all.
Oh, apparently Durin is a YouTube channel. I'll have to go see. I'll respond to one more guy in the chat who's being dumb. Saiyan Wizard says,
can't help it.
you will just ignore everything that goes against the narrative you've accepted. What? When have I done that? Like, okay, there's a lot of things you can, like, say about me. You know, you can say I'm fat. Maybe I don't research some things as much as I should. Maybe I'm lazy. I'm late to the stream a lot. But man, I don't think you can seriously say that I ignore evidence or I have like a preset narrative that I want to talk about. I don't think you can say that about me. Oh, 100 Kronor from Viking Kiwi. Thank you. Also, Dev, I know you've gotten some dumb, crazy people on the right side. Just know that not all your viewers are like that. Don't forget about your centrist viewers. Of course, the centrist viewers are the backbone of the channel, and you guys are the best.
Yep.
Yeah.
When we criticize the dumbass, like, rightoids, like, they're just, like, sucking Putin's cock and just, like, can't take it when, like, news comes out.
But he's
showing,
stopping the
Russia isn't
trannies,
doing
Lilith.
well.
He's stopping.
Yes.
He's stopping the blue-haired trannies that are in all the public schools. It's like, you know.
Oh yeah.
Maybe
that totally justifies everything. all the massacres and the genocide he's been doing.
Maybe we can stop some of those other problems coming out of the left without becoming like Putin. I think there's another path that we can take here. We can even say that there might be a third position.
The centrist position.
Hold on. Did you see the VDV night drop into the Black Sea? Noble $2. I didn't see that. Did you see that, Arch?
Nope.
Wouldn't surprise it though. It's like, we're going down. And they just like pull the parachute. They just fall right into the ocean.
VDV drop you in water.
Yeah. Artemis Fowl, $5. Duran is a copium channel. He thinks Russia's winning. Oh, I see. Jesus. Still, I'll go see the copium then, I guess.
I don't think it's been confirmed, but it's been like there's like multiple people saying they just dropped the VDV into the fucking water. It's just like, that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. What do we call the right version of the crazies? Viking Kiwi. I mean, they're still just crazies, aren't they? I mean, they're still just crazies. Nothing really different. Yeah. Oh, that's right. In the past, you quoted a man for all seasons regarding breaking every law and principle in order to defeat the devil. When it came to the American right wing no longer being principled losers, what has changed now? Nothing. I still feel that way. I mean, I just don't hold the principle that says you have to trade with your enemy. That just seems retarded. That is all. Yeah, I use rightoid and leftoid. I use them both, rightoid and leftoid.
Yep, rightoid, leftoid.
Yep.
Both retarded.
Meanwhile, I am a centroid, so you can just call me that if you like. So super chats. That's all.
That's not saying everybody on the right and everybody on the left is retarded, but that's
yeah, of
like
course.
People who are just like dogmatic and just have really stupid opinions in the face of facts.
Yep. That's all the super chats, and I think that's the end of it for today. Thanks very much for being here, Arch.
You're welcome.
You know,
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, this is exactly the kind of thing that I would get you on the channel for, actually. But considering that you were like dead in the fucking water Thursday night, I was like, maybe we should just leave Arch alone.
I'm still a little dead, but less dead.
Better, get better, Arch.
Get better, Arch. And thanks for being
Thank
here.
you.
Artemis, the final fiver before we get out of here. Remember, Russia lost 2 full battalion tactical groups trying to cross the shallow river. Is that true?
They
Artemis?
did at least lose significant portions of them.
All right, man. Well, thanks for all the support, guys. Thanks for all the supers.
Yep, thank you.
You know what? I'll even say thank you to all the shit eaters in chat. You guys make my life a lot more fun, at least sometimes.
At least, if nothing else, they're entertaining.
All right, we'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.
See you next time, fellas.